All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome to This Week Unloaded on the Unloaded Media channel. Tonight we have with us G Webs from over at Gun Channels. How are you tonight, sir?
Good. Thanks for the invite.
Yep, not a problem. And we, as always, we have Night Strike with us. How are you tonight, Night Strike?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite.
Yep, not a problem at all. So I figured tonight, since I really didn't have anything planned, we could do something panel driven and or we could do a bracket or whatnot. So first, I guess we'll see that either one of you have a topic that you want to discuss. G-Webs, you were talking about the podcast you were listening to earlier. You want to tell the folks out there about that?
I guess we can talk about that, but I was actually wanting to talk about the gas station slash, well, not gas, I guess, but like slash local shop.
Yeah, we could do that too. You want to talk? Were you wanting to talk about the one I was just telling you about, or the one that you said was in your area?
We can talk about the one you're talking about because that's definitely more interesting. But I was just going to say we had something kind of similar when we would go out south of town here. It used to be out in the middle of nowhere, kind of just where two big streets hit each other, and there was like a VFW hall out there for no reason in the middle of nowhere, and then this little gas station, but it was like an elaborate gas station, and they had that little kind of deli you're talking about where you get sandwiches or maybe they cook a pizza or something, and it was cool. But then the problem was that we go out there every couple of months or depending on how much shooting we were doing, more and less often. So every once in a while you'd go out there and it was like different people running the place and the food would be drastically different. It'd be really good sometimes. And I remember the first time we went there, had a bagel sandwich that was just incredible. And then, you kind of go different. So I was just wondering if your store was like that.
And this one's all family owned and operated. They've been running the store for a few years now. It's got like in the back of the store, right? When you walk in, it looks like a regular convenience store. But when you walk back past where like the grocery section is, past the fountain drinks and everything, you see on the left hand corner in the rear, there's a gun counter. It's an L-shaped gun counter. It's in the corner, and on the walls they have all kinds of rifles hanging there. And then they have a gun case on one side with handguns, and then the other side's a bunch of like hunting knives. And then when you look into the right corner of the store back there, it's nothing but archery supplies, bows, crossbows, arrows, archery targets, and that kind of thing. And then they also have like outdoors hunting type clothing. They sell sneakers and boots, all kinds of stuff like that. And then as you walk back towards the front of the store, you got their freezer case where they have like ice creams and stuff. And then they have pre-wrapped deli cheeses that they slice up and wrap and put in the cooler. And then as you walk forward a little bit more, you got a little produce display there where they have like tomatoes, lettuce, stuff like that. And then you have right there at the front of that, like forming an L off the produce thing, you have a deli case where they have different lunch meats and pre-wrapped sandwiches. Then you got the cash register, and then you go around the cash register off to the right. There's a little doorway there where they have benches where you can sit down and eat, because right there across from there they have an ice cream, where they sell hard serve ice cream, where you get the old scoop and put it on the cone kind of ice cream, and also little diner type setup where you get pizza, burgers, hot dogs, that kind of stuff. And they also have a little gas station there too. So it's a really cool little store. And they also had like T-shirts and stuff up front, like for WVU, West Virginia University and stuff like that. And they had a big ammo selection too that went around the corner at the gun counter area. Most of the handguns they had were Smith and Wessons because they were fully authorized Smith and Wesson dealer and service provider. So if you have something wrong with your Smith and Wesson, I guess you could take it there and have it looked at. I didn't get a chance to ask him because the actual owner of the store who handles that part of it wasn't there. But I talked to his daughter a little bit, and I left her the business card for Gun Channels and the Every Second Matters business card for them. She said that she would look at it because she's like into YouTube and stuff when we were talking. So You guys got any questions about it?
I came in a little bit late. What are you talking? What is this, like a flea market or a store? What
It's
are
a
you talking
store.
about?
It's a store. It's like it's almost like the when you know on the old westerns they have the general store which sells a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what this place was like.
it sounds like the greatest place on earth.
And they had some nice handguns and stuff in there too.
Rich, back to our previous conversation about this place. How is the pizza?
I didn't get a chance to try any. They didn't have any made up and didn't have time to wait for them to make any, so I didn't get a chance to try it.
Okay. Because supposedly this place was one of those places where you go and pick up a slice of pizza and then fill out a 44.73 and eat your slice of pizza, and while you're waiting for them to call Nick's.
Yep.
Maybe for, like give it to you for free.
No, you got to pay for the pizza, obviously. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I've seen places where they give you an ice cream cone while you're waiting.
Yeah. No, I don't think they did. I didn't get a chance to get into all that with them. So basically, I went and was like introducing myself, and then maybe later on, and go back and maybe get some pictures and stuff after. I didn't want to, with the owner not being there, I didn't want to walk around taking pictures and have anybody be like, "What's this guy doing?" You know.
Oh, just an FYI, I never ask nothing. I just go in, ask whoever looks like they know what's going on. Hey, do you mind if I take some pictures of the shop? Literally 9 times out of 10 is my success rate. 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Sometimes, maybe 60%, I think at this point, they'll say, why? After I'm taking pictures, like they still don't care. It's not like a challenge. They'll just say, hey, why? And I'll tell them I do a podcast. I go, oh, okay. And then, I don't know, maybe 3 out of 10, they go a little bit further and really give a shit what I'm doing.
And two of the guns I got to play with were yesterday. Well, at the gun counter was the Shield EZ, which I think we talked about that yesterday on whose was it? Whose show was it on? Was that on Gun Snob show? We were talking about that. How I was checking out the Shield EZ.
When you guys start talking about 9mm, I tune out.
Well, the Shield EZ is a 380.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the new one they had just come out with. That has the grip safety and whatnot for people with disabilities and stuff like that, and older people.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
They said they made it specifically for people with disabilities. That's crazy. Because that's an anti. I mean, that makes it even more difficult.
this thing, honest to God, I just pinched the slide between my thumb and index finger, and barely moved my right hand. And I mean, I didn't put any force at all behind it, and I was able to rack that slide so easily.
Oh, you're when you were talking about that. Okay, I didn't realize that was made specifically for that. But I was thinking about grip safety or whatever.
Yeah, well, the grip safety, as soon as you grab it, it disappears. It's not like in 1911 how sometimes it'll be finicky and you got to have your hand just right. It doesn't matter how you put your hand on that grip safety is going to disengage.
Still a thing that has to disengage. That's my thing. But that's cool. I didn't realize they had kind of polished up the slide or whatever. So you think it's like light string, like high polish?
Yeah, this thing is it's extremely easy to rack the slide on that. And the reason why they put the grip safety on there is because it doesn't have the trigger safety. And with it being hammer fired, I guess they figured that would be a better solution than the trigger safety for somebody who has, like arthritis or something like that.
Night Strike has arthritis and carpal tunnel. What does he think about this guy?
Maybe a little carpal tunnel, but not arthritis.
And he's always sticking his fingers into things, so they're getting all smashed all the time.
No, stop that.
He likes disassembling vampiric 1911s too.
This time I just won't tell you guys anything.
I told you, you're not going to live that one down, man. It's just not going to happen. While we were talking about the shop, we had the kingpin himself, David Bullion, join us. How are you tonight, David?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
And Gary just snuck in. How are you tonight, Gary?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, not a problem. So, were you able to hear what we were talking about, Gary, or were you not, or not out of the loop completely?
I heard you Night Strike bashing a second ago, but no, I didn't get anything before that.
Okay, we were talking about this little store in my area. It's basically got like a gun counter and an archery counter in the back of the store. And then it's got like a little grocery section, like a convenience store would have. And they also sell like hunting clothes and stuff like that. And then they have a little deli counter and a little diner section and a gas station to it.
Okay.
That's where I was checking out the Shield EZ yesterday. Telling you about.
Alrighty.
And another one I was checking out yesterday while I was there was the Taurus Raging Judge Magnum. That with the 6-inch barrel, that is a serious piece of steel right there. Excuse me. That thing was heavy, especially with my elbow being messed up the way it is. That thing was heavy to hold.
That G-Webs was talking about, I know he was joking when he was talking about having carpal tunnel and arthritis. I can relate with that one now. That's fun.
Yeah. So the Shield EZ 380 would be perfect for somebody that has that slide rack's extremely easy. The trigger's got a nice smooth trigger pull.
That's what I hear.
I wish I'd have got a chance to fire it, but they didn't have a range for you to test it, so I didn't get a chance to fire it. But man, it was really nice. Not much bigger than your 42. That's what you got, right? You're carrying a G42.
Yeah, it's going to be a little longer.
Yeah, a little bit longer, but as far as width and everything's concerned, it's not going to probably about the same because they had one of those there too, and in the case, I didn't really check that one out, but it was one of two Glocks that they had. They only had two Glocks. The rest was Smith & Wesson and Taurus. Oh wait, I take it back. They had two high points as well.
Because really, a Glock 42 is not real hard to rack slide either.
Yeah, can you take your Glock 42, pinch the rear of the slide between two fingers, and barely push your right hand forward and rack the slide on it?
Well, let's find out.
I mean, very little effort at all. I mean, almost no effort.
No, it's not that easy.
Yeah, the Shield EZ is literally that easy to rack. I was amazed how easy that. I was expecting there to be a little bit of resistance, but this thing had almost no resistance at all.
I mean, I am fully loaded. That might have a little bit of difference, but not that much.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much the difference I would actually make, but yeah. And then, I mean, I'm trying to remember. Yours holds 7 rounds? Or is it 6?
6 plus 1, yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember how many of that holds. I think it was 7 or 8 in the mag, if I remember right.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. With the magazine on it, instead of just inserting rounds from the top, you can actually pull the spring down like you would with a 22 magazine and then feed your rounds in that way, which would make that a lot simpler for somebody that has issues with their hands and whatnot too.
That would be nice. Because this thing can be fun loading magazines without an up Lula or something like that.
Yeah, you've seen the 22 magazines that are like that, right?
Yeah, I got one.
You just slide the spring, the follower down, and put your rounds in.
Yeah, now mine can be pretty hard to hold from the outside, but I've got I've got this thing, just a little piece of plastic goes around the outside of it and holds the sides down, so you can do that real easy.
Anybody else have any questions about this little shop? Anybody out there on YouTube have any questions about it? Or gun channels? Okay. So anybody over there? Yeah, Rupan G-Web's over there.
Nice to have 5 people on the show and have dead air.
Yeah, I love it, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Rupan, they do like hot dogs, burgers, stuff like that. It's your standard like gas station fare, but they have a little section where you can sit down and eat it and whatnot.
Those things are kind of nice. I was asking you originally if that was like outfitter type of place, like out in the middle of nowhere, where like they're like mostly giving people stuff that they might have forgot or lost or broke when they're out doing hunting or outdoors kind of stuff, or if it was like just a little shop in the middle of nowhere, so it was like a general store for like just everybody, like not just people that out doing outdoor adventures. You said it was kind of both, right?
Yeah, it's kind of both in the little town convenience store. It's all like all these different things that were like wrapped into one store. Like during the summer and whatnot, they'll have like wood crafting stuff too. Like they'll make like porch swings and wooden rocking chairs and stuff like that that you could like put out on your porch and whatnot too.
We had a place like that growing up. It not only sold it sold food, it had a gas station on it, and you could get a sandwich and stuff like that. And they did have tables you could sit at. They also sold both ammunition and bait, fishing supplies and stuff like that too. So being right on the edge of town and only about 2 or 3 miles from a pretty good sized reservoir, they did pretty decent business out there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the fishing supplies because I forgot all about that. They had that too. They had a section as you're walking back towards, right as you went past the fountain machines and whatnot. They had a section on the wall there that had fishing rods, and then they had like tackle across the aisle from that. So yeah, they had a little section for that too. I completely spaced on that and forgot about that part. But yeah, and also in like in the summer they'll do like the wood crafting stuff. In the spring they'll have like a little garden center set up where they sell like plants and whatnot for your garden.
Around here, hunting and fishing pretty much go hand in hand. So if you're going to sell hunting stuff, you pretty much got to carry a little bit of fishing supplies too.
Black Cat, no, they didn't have those that I saw. Sorry. He was asking if they had those little like cheeseburgers that are shaped like a hot dog that they put on the roller things. I know what he's talking about because when we lived in the other town, they would get those in the gas station down there, and those were actually pretty good. Yeah, no, they didn't have any of those.
Well, this one I'm talking about was old timey enough. They used to actually keep the lunch meat, that came in the big tubes, and they had sliced cheese and bread, and they would actually make you a sandwich, and you could sit there and eat it if you wanted to.
Yeah, they had that kind of stuff.
And they were good. That's back when lunch meat was good.
They had their own little deli counter and whatnot there too. It wasn't as big as say going to the supermarket and the deli counter they would have there, but for a little shop like that, they had a not too bad of a selection. Your standard fare, like your different hams, your bologna, the American Colby cheddar, that kind of cheese and whatnot.
It's and they amazing how tiny this place was, but they had a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah.
My bologna has a first name.
Let me guess, it's OSCAR.
That's why it's called programming.
And we were there when we were checking out because we grabbed a couple of sodas and whatnot to drink because me and my wife went down. They were getting ready to make up oh, excuse me, a fresh batch of hot sausage where they were cutting up the peppers and the onions to put in it and whatnot.
When those places are out where you're hunting or whatever, that's pretty handy to have a place that's got like hot food that's decent. I look forward to, you can like go there and then drive home.
Yeah, well, this place isn't far from where there will be a public area where you could hunt, and then you go in one direction, then the other direction there's like a lake and waterfall and stuff where people go fishing and swimming and stuff. So it's like centrally located between what would be a public hunting area and then the lake where you can go fishing and swimming. So it's in a good location, and it's right on a major one of the major routes through this area. Route 50 goes a long way. US 50 that goes all the way to DC from here. I forget where the other end goes, but so
US 50 is not far from me here.
yeah,
50 goes past Annapolis and all kinds of stuff.
yeah. So yeah, they're right on 50 in this area. It's like maybe 5 minutes from where I live. It wasn't that far of a drive to get there.
I'm pretty sure 50 takes you all the way down to Ocean City, Maryland. But yeah, 50's a pretty big stretch
Yeah.
of road.
Yep. Around here, that's the way we go to get to like Romney, West Virginia, or Winchester, Virginia. Go past Winchester, and you start getting down towards the Manassas area and all that area down that way. Then DC.
Yes, I used to have to go to Winchester Hospital once a month, and I'd go up 70 from where I live at, and then take 81 across.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife used to work at Winchester Medical Center. She works up at the hospital in Cumberland, Maryland now. So, any of you guys got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, actually, I do. I was talking to a couple guys about some gun shows coming up, and when you go to a gun show, whenever I go to a gun store and buy a rifle, I get a 7-day delay. I never get denied, but and I've got my Maryland handgun license and all that kind of stuff, so it's not like I have an issue. But say I go to a gun show to purchase a rifle, when they do the instant background check and it comes up 7-day delay, what do I do?
Well, if they're doing a background check, then it's an FFL. So more than likely they got a brick and mortar somewhere. So usually they'll just say, okay, you know how it is, you get 3 days to call or whatever. And I don't know, depending on if you got like a common name or if you got something similar to somebody, like I don't know what do you normally get called before the 3 days, or do they normally just 3-day it?
It's usually where it's 7 days for me, so it's usually 6, 7 days. They usually call and say, "Hey, you're cleared. Come on, pick up your rifle."
Yeah, so whatever. So if it's normally a couple of days like that, then that sucks. But they'll try to do it at the show, and if it gets like that, then they'll say, okay, we'll bring it back to the shop with us, and we'll give you a call, and then you got to go pick it up at the shop.
Okay.
Now, is that a Maryland thing where they're holding it, or is that the actual Nix check that's saying to hold it?
I believe it's the Nix check because the the two places I bought two rifles from one store, and I know the people and they got a relationship, all that kind of stuff, so they know I'm not, gonna I'm not a criminal trying to buy guns. And when they go through and do type in my information into the computer, it comes back that it's just delayed, and it usually takes, I think, 6 to 7 days. I think 7 days is the limit. If they haven't heard anything back in 7 days, then it's cleared. But they usually call me before then and say that they got the approval, so go ahead and come get your gun. And there's a guy whenever I get pulled over for speeding or whatever, it's been a while since I've been, but I always get asked because there's a guy with my same full name, and basically we fit the same description, but he lives in Ohio, and he's got apparently a nice little rap sheet, and they always ask me if I'm him. So
That's
maybe
totally
that's what's going on. I don't know.
That's totally why. So it's a double-edged sword, right? We don't want a government that has us all basically electronically organized so that they can instantly figure out everything, because that means they have total control over everything. So because we restrict how they can do their checks and stuff, they do it by name, not by something like social security number, in other words. So yeah, that's the double edge of the sword. That's the shitty part, is if you've got a name similar, then that's what's happening. Like they're figuring it out. It takes them that long to figure out you're not that guy, and then it goes through. There's all kinds of little things that'll do it, but more than likely that's probably it if you've had that from other areas before.
Yeah, and see with Maryland, there's an 8-day waiting period regardless for handguns. So I guess during that 8 days they realize that I'm who I say I am.
Do you ever have like any security clearances?
I had some low level security clearances, contractor clearances, nothing like actual.
All that's enough to kick it, because the people that do the initial check are just clerks, so they can't touch things. So some of that stuff is like an automatic kick up to the next level, automatic delay.
Okay.
That's why it's good to get a CCW sometimes, so you can just bypass this stuff. Well, it depends on your state, I guess. If they've got a state thing that doesn't let that happen, I guess that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, Maryland's pretty strict about letting people carry firearms around.
Yeah, he's more. You better have a damn good reason in Maryland to need it. My wife worked with somebody who was being stalked by a crazy person in the ER, and they denied her permit. So it's Maryland.
Most of the people who are, I guess you could say, quote unquote, guaranteed to get it are going to be former law enforcement or COs from prisons and stuff uh, that they allow to have the carry. Other than that, then you have to have a good reason, and your good reason and my good reason could be the exact same reason, and the person on the other end stamping the paper approved or disapproved could, say, okay, I'll give Rich his carry permit, but not David.
Yeah,
You know, there.
and the best part is one of the things that they even claim is a valid reason is if you can verifiably prove by having police reports and filing for a restraining order and stuff that somebody is stalking you, and they will still deny you even though the law states that that is a legitimate reason.
There's range safety officers in a couple different ranges that I know of that don't have their carry permit. And there's one guy that I know of that is a firearms instructor and teaches the concealed carry class, and he doesn't have his concealed carry permit.
Maureen, you telling us something the other day or like a week or so ago about how there are range officers at certain ranges where they're being disarmed and being told that they can't carry too.
Yeah, my local range, the one that I go to all the time, about a month ago, they changed supervisors or boss, whatever you want to call it. And his first change of plans was you have to have a round chambered. If you're carrying down here, you have to have a round chambered. So they started chambering rounds. Then the very next week was no weapons whatsoever. And ever since then, it's been no weapons whatsoever. And four of the range safety officers quit.
Yeah,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
it makes absolutely no sense why. I mean, you're at a range where you got a bunch of other people with firearms, and yet the range officer is supposed to be there to make sure everybody's doing everything safely and nobody's getting out of hand, and essentially at times probably acting like security aren't allowed.
Well, the week after they disarmed the safety officers. The line doesn't go hot till 10, and technically it doesn't go hot until the announcement's made. Line is hot. At 9:30 on the pistol side, somebody was firing off shots where everybody else's firearm was locked up and unloaded, and the range safety officers were disarmed. What are you going to do? Then another thing with Maryland, the range safety officer, if they have to fire on somebody, they're on duty. If I have to fire as a civilian on somebody, I have to go to court now. There's legal, like lots of legal trouble that I'm in because it's a must flee state. If I can run away, I'm not supposed to stand there and protect anybody or myself. I'm supposed to run away. So the range safety officer not being able to defend the patrons is a problem.
Yep, that definitely would be a problem.
That's interesting. Never thought about that before.
Yeah, and Maryland's got all kinds of crazy gun laws. That's why I was asking him if it was a Maryland thing or if it was actually the Nix check that was coming back to where he was on a hold.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the federal because it only happens with rifle. But then again, like I said, I have an 8-day waiting period regardless with handgun. So
yeah, your 8-day waiting period in Maryland's going to cancel out that 7-day wait if it comes back with the Nix saying you have to wait anyway. Or it's like
normally there's a 30-day period between purchases as well. So if I buy a gun today, I have to wait 30 days before I can apply. Well, let me use the correct terminology. If I apply to buy a gun, because I can still, even with my license, I can get denied at any time. The license only allows me to apply for a purchase. So I apply for the purchase, they approve the purchase, then 30 calendar days later, I can apply for another purchase. But I put in for what's called collector status, which allows me to buy one every 8 days. And I had to give all kinds of reasons why I wanted collector status before that got approved.
Man, you seriously need to move across the border. We got real nice gun laws here.
Yeah, one of the range safety officers is from West Virginia, and he drives all the way down here. Well, it did. He quit. And he teased me all the time. He was like, look, you got to come over to my house so we can go open carry in Walmart.
Yeah. Permission slip? What's a permission slip?
Right.
You can't get one. Night Strike has to have one. And then 3 of us here, we live in states where you don't need no stinking permission slip.
I only have one to conceal carry. I can't open carry unless I'm going fishing or hunting. Don't ask me how that works.
See, I'm not 100% sure about it because I don't hunt. But I don't think that even because I've heard a lot of people talking about when they go hunting, they take a pistol with them. I don't think you're allowed to do that in Maryland if you don't have a carry permit. Because technically you're carrying that gun out in public.
Yeah, because you don't have open carry either. So, like, don't get caught, I guess.
And that's one of the things, some people want to talk about buck the system and, do all this kind of, well, you can do all that you want. You can feel free to cross the border into Maryland and break a Maryland gun law. And when you get caught, you'll wish that you didn't.
Mm-hmm. You better hope you have one of those carry insurances at that point that we were talking about on Rick's show yesterday, because your legal bills are going to be astronomical.
That's something interesting, but I don't think carry insurance works for if you're doing something with the jurisdictional, like negligence or ignorance. Like if you're carrying incorrectly and you get arrested, they're going to say, no, you're guilty. Like that, we don't help you with that. They help you with the lethal force incident. If you're, if it was a legal situation. But I don't think they help you if it's just a plain old legal bill. You need something like prepaid legal for that.
I thought I saw some with USCCA where they said that they did. I'm not sure. As of people who accidentally carry across state lines, not realizing what the laws are, they
I
would
was
help.
thinking something like, what do they call that? We were talking about, I guess, with the failure to declare. Like if you go to a state and you just don't realize that you have an obligation to declare, and they pull you over for some headlight or something, or just to see if you what's up because you're driving real weird hours or something on a interstate. So they pull you over just to see what's up, and you don't declare, and then something happens, and they figure out you got a gun, and then you're in a glitch because that's I don't know if that's a felony if you don't declare in a state that it has a obligation to.
Well, and that's one of the weird things about Maryland is as strict as their gun laws are, if you have a carry permit and you get pulled over, you don't have to tell, even if the cop asked you if you have a gun, you don't have to tell them you have a gun.
And this is why, folks, when you go to a different state, make sure you follow up on what the gun laws are there before you cross that border. Because otherwise, you can find yourself in a serious mess of trouble.
And I used to service a bunch of different hospitals in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, so I was constantly crossing over into Virginia. I never used a radar detector, but right at the inner loop and all that kind of stuff, the 495 and all that around here in DC, when you cross over into Virginia, there's a big white sign that says radar detectors illegal. So you think about if you're not paying attention to the road signs and you have a radar detector, you cross over into Virginia, well, you're committing a crime in Virginia, even though you don't intend to, you never thought about it, it's an innocent thing.
Yep.
So it
See
might
those
seem
signs.
it might seem like overkill, but it is a very good idea to be aware when you cross the state line, know what that state laws are.
Yep. And they see those signs all the time around here when you're going down 50 or 127 because you're 522. You're heading into Virginia. Those are all lead from West Virginia into Virginia. So depending which way you're going, you see those signs all the time from here. So just make sure you know what the laws are, where you're going, so stay out of trouble.
Makes me not want to leave my state.
Yep.
No, that's no way to look at it. It's an opportunity to be an ambassador in a different way. So if you do get pulled over somewhere and you're following the rules, and then it's a normal interaction with law enforcement, and then you go on your way, then they know, okay, there's another person, the law-abiding carrier.
I like the point that you brought up yesterday, G-Webs, about the insurance when you were talking about bullets that go where they weren't intended to go. Uh, a lot of times I think people get into that self-defense thought in their head and they imagine, double tap right to center mass and they're going to everything's going to be perfect like it, a wonderful scenario. But,
Oh,
a bullet's going to travel and in a high passionate situation and a stressful situation, you might not be the crack shot that you are at the range.
and then I guess I was also kind of alluding, I didn't want to make it too morbid, but you turn around a corner and your heightened awareness and this and that, and you're wrong, and somebody is shot, unintentionally or incorrectly. That's the thing that happens.
I gotta go do something real quick. You guys talk among yourselves until I can get back. I got something I gotta take care of real quick. So I'll be here in the room listening, but I gotta handle something.
I mean, after what Night Strike was saying about Gary before Gary came in, I thought it was kind of awkward, but now that it's been said, maybe we can Wrong cat.
I said nothing.
No, yeah.
We stood up for you, Gary. Don't worry.
What'd you say? Give him the bird?
Oh, he's acting like it's his saying now.
I know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe you guys could share. Gizzard could do a little bit of shout out and be infringed from time to time.
I don't
It is-
do it. I don't
It
Okay.
is a free country.
Something else we were talking about before we went live was I was listening to the Gun Freedom Radio, which is a podcast out of Arizona, over where Good Guy with a Gun lives, started west of Phoenix. And they have a really good podcast. They do a 2-hour podcast each Wednesday, and it's like 4 or 5 guests each hour. So it's a really good podcast. They have a lot of interesting guests on, all Second Amendment, gun-related stuff. This is a couple that have been married for a long time, and the grandparents. They own a gun shop and an auction house. So they do a couple auctions every month, like real auctions, and then they have this really cool gun shop, and they do this podcast. So I was listening to theirs, catching up on it, and then I heard a commercial from Asad Ayub for his podcast, and I didn't think he was still doing his podcast. So I followed the link that he said in his commercial, and I was digging into his podcast. So he hasn't done one in almost a year, and we were kind of chatting about that. So I don't know if that was enough time for him to get back from whatever he's doing. But I got to go look at my buckets. I got leaks everywhere, so I got to fill buckets. It's raining here.
Uh-oh.
Gotta
Oh,
empty-
man. Best of luck with that, man.
So anybody else check out any gun stores this weekend?
I didn't check it out any gun stores, but I've been looking at these two 22 Magnum revolver rifles that I've been considering buying.
I wish.
I was in this where my daughter lives, which is about a town of 10,000. About the only gun store they had there was this thing that's a combination with a pawn shop. And I had never been in there before, so I decided to go in and check the place out. Well, they had, in the first place, a very few handguns in the place, and I know enough about the price of guns to know about what things ought to be, and everything in there was running about $100 too high. So I told my daughter, I said, nope. I said, these people have no idea what this stuff is retailing for now.
I've never bought a firearm from a pawn shop, and some people say, that's where you got to go and you'll get the best deals, and other people say, don't ever buy a gun at a pawn shop. Is it really that hit or miss Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, or?
Well, they had some stuff that they were showing as new in box. I know for a fact had to have been at least a 5 or 6 year old model. I mean, it may be a gun you can buy now, but not with that grip combination and everything else. It's like, wow, how long has this been in here?
Yeah, it might all depend on the gun shop you're going to, too. Like, there's one around here that the pawn shop is on one side, and the other side's an actual gun shop, but they're owned by the same people, so they're in the same building. And it's all the new stuff is new. Then they got the used tags on the used stuff and whatnot. And then I forget who was telling us about the one shop in their area the other day where they have a third tag, which is used but never fired. They have a tag that goes on stuff like that as well. And then they also build like ARs and stuff for people too. So this isn't, so like I said, it all depends on the shop itself. You go in, look around to see what it looks like. And if it looks fishy, you go somewhere else. That's all I can tell you.
And pawn shops are a whole different thing. I don't even really hit them if I can help it on the tour because they're unique, right? So depending on the size of the town and the number of pawn shops, that'll be a factor. Because if there's fewer, it's different than when there's a whole bunch. So like in Tucson, there must be dozens and dozens, right? And let's say most of them have guns, but a dozen of them or something have like a lot of guns where it's worth going there. And a lot of times pawn shops, they you know, everybody who brings in something's in a different circumstance and needs a different number of money, a different amount of money for their gun. So if they put $50 down on a gun and the guy never came back and got his gun for $50, they might sell that gun for $100. But if it's a friend of theirs or something, this hard story or something, and they take a lot of money from a widow, and she never comes back, and they bought that gun for a lot of money, they might have to put it out there for a lot of money because they're not trying to lose money. So with my experience with pawn shops, and I can't hang out in pawn shops because I don't have any money anymore, because I had a rotation of, like I say, maybe 6 of those 12 pawn shops in town that I could get to like on a regular basis or whatever, depending on what kind of job you have. You might be able to check one out more often or something. When you start patrolling pawn shops, their stuff changes a lot, way more faster than gun shops. So it's like you got to have cash, and you just got to keep your eyes open. And some of the pawn shop will stay the same, of course, but you'll see the guns that are moving and stuff, and you just got to, like you say, hit or miss. You got to be there at the right time sometimes, but you can get killer deals. So the people I'd say that say the pawn shops are the way to go have gotten those killer deals, either because of repetition or they continually go to these shops, so they found a good deal, or they just happen to you could happen to walk in and find a good deal. But then people that don't, I think, just maybe go to a pawn shop once or twice and go, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I think you have to really go to pawn shops though to get the value of them.
Right. Like and to add on to what she was just saying, there's times where a pawn shop can be a great place where you find like a mill cert that you've been looking for that you haven't been able to find somewhere else, even at a gun show. You walk into a pawn shop and it might just be sitting there on the rack and they don't even know what it is that they got, and they might be selling it for like $150 when they could easily get $300-400 for it if they knew what it was.
They don't have time. They're so worried about guitars and neon signs and Nintendos and DVDs and ski boots, and they don't care. Just a thing. So if they got it for $50, it's worth $75 or whatever.
Power drills. I've never seen so many power drills in my life.
There's
a big pawn shop a couple miles from where I live at. And basically, it's just a gun store that's got a couple other pawn items around. It's got a extremely nice collection of firearms. The problem is the people that work there are just not the best people. So I don't even bother going there. I've been in there and bought, a couple little things here and there, and the people are just so uneasy to deal with. They're rude and nasty. So it's not even worth going into that one, and it stinks because they've got a great selection of stuff.
Yeah. How far are you from like Frostburg area?
It would probably take me roughly maybe an hour and a half or so to get to Frostburg, maybe.
If you want to check out a decent pawn shop, the store I was just talking about, they have a branch over in Frostburg as well, and then in Ridgely, West Virginia, which is right across the Potomac from Cumberland, is where their main store is. They could sell you a long gun, they couldn't sell you a handgun there unless you had it shipped to Maryland somewhere. But yeah, if you're not averse to taking an hour ride, you can check those two places out.
Yeah, I don't mind shopping around. I like to get a good idea of what everybody's got to offer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just thinking, if we're talking about gun shops and their prices, does anybody ever factor into it if you just got some Yahoo in the area that's like a dummy, and they'll price everything because in case that guy comes in, he doesn't question the sticker price, buys it and walks out. So it might be worth having some crazy prices out there. And if there's a couple of Yahoos like that, you know what I mean? And then maybe if you were to challenge them a little bit and go, hey, what if I buy this with a scope? Can I get it at way cheaper? Because a lot of times they'll, you know what I mean? They'll kind of price things for the sucker and not, the guy who's comparing everything to the internet.
Well, my local gun shop, the one that's the closest to where I live at and closest to where I work at, is easily the most expensive gun store that I've been in, period. And I think what their angle is they're the only game in town. You know, you want to drive, 45 minutes to the closest gun shop, or do you want to drive 10 minutes to the closest gun shop?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them have that. You get the same thing though. I remember when I was living in Wyoming, I was listening because it was back in the olden days when you had CDs, and I could either wait forever to try to order it, mail order, because there was no internet yet. Try to find a catalog and then order it, and then wait for it to get there, or pay way more than I would pay for at a regular record store. I forget what record stores were called back then, but there was like big box record stores, and you could get CDs there for maybe $10 or something, and I was paying like 21 in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. That was
Get the CD or like just hum the song to yourself,
yeah, it was like, I don't know what was the name of that appliance store. Was it Sun Video or something like that? It was an appliance store. They used
Suncoast Videos.
Yeah, no, not Suncoast. This was a different. This was an appliance store. It wasn't a video store. It was like in Pittsburgh area that we had them. It was Sun. It was Sun appliances or something along those lines. It was Sun something anyway. And you would go in there, and they would have CDs and stuff marked down. Where if you would like somewhere like Sam Goody or National Record Mart or something like that, you'd be paying $20 for it. You would walk in there, and they would have it for like $10.99. My brother and I used to love going there for that reason.
You mean Sun Television and Appliances?
Yeah, that's it.
Sometimes
I just looked it up.
when they do stuff like that to get you in the store, like lose a little bit of money on something like that, because then you're going to buy everything else.
Right. Because the main thing that they were selling was appliances, because they have TVs, washers, dryers, ovens, all that kind of stuff. And then they had one section where they had some CDs and cassettes, and you would get a good deal on those.
That's what the local gun store in my area has over a bunch of the other places too. And I guess that's why they can have higher prices. To see if they got all the stuff for bow hunting as well. And they're one of the only places around that sells pretty much any kind of ammunition that you could want.
Were you trying to say something too at the same time David was? It sounded like you were.
No, I mean, I wasn't really talking about guns. That just made me think of back in the days when you would buy stereo stuff in like pieces. You'd buy like the tuner and the equalizer and the tape deck and the CD player. It's once theirs came out. So there would be places that sold DVDs, and CDs back then. They would cost like, what were they, $25 or something when they first came out, and they'd be giant boxes. But then if you bought, something like a tape player, you bought a CD player, all of a sudden you could get as many CDs as you wanted for like $9. And you were talking about the discounts or whatever, and I was thinking like, yeah, I can remember that, where you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna buy this new tape to tape recorder or whatever, but dang, I can save like $70 on CDs.
Yeah, that's where they get you. You end up paying like $400 for a new tape deck, and then you get $30 in CDs. It's like, wait a minute, did I really get a deal on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of money on stereo equipment back in the day.
Yeah, I could have some of that money back, or if I would have been not an idiot, and gone and bought guns at that time, I'd have like so many Ruger Mini 14s. Like the coolest gun back then.
Yeah, the days where you get an SKS for under $100.
Oh, I didn't even want those back then, though. I totally would have bought something like that, or like, I don't know, probably would have a bunch of bolt guns. But yeah, you could buy surplus stuff for nothing back then, for just nothing. Nobody wanted it. Anything nobody wanted, unless you were gonna like, it was all sold as if you were gonna take it home and start chopping on it and whittling on it and putting new stocks on it. So they were all like $25, $10.
Yeah.
Platforms, basically. You were buying the receivers.
People are like, oh, why are SKSs and AKs costing so much now? Well, because one thing, this isn't 1992, and the supply is dwindling.
Two, we have to make them here in the United States now because we can't import rifles anymore.
I would ask a question about that because I don't know anything about the AK platform whatsoever. Is it really that bad that an AK is made in America? I mean, I'm gonna go, all pro USA and think, well, wouldn't an American-made rifle be better?
Well, we've only got a couple of companies that are genuinely making all U.S. parts. Most of them are assembling parts from parts kits that come from like Bulgaria, Romania, the former Czechoslovakia, former Yugoslavia. Well, not Czech because they didn't have the UK, but you get my meat when I'm talking about. So the ones that are good American-made ones are actually just parts build kits, which will be like your Lee Armory, um, Jim Fuller's company, whose name I can't remember right now, Rifle Dynamics, James Armory. Those ones, they're not true U.S. built. They're more U.S. assembled from parts. They might have a U.S. receiver because of 922R compliance. It may be like a U.S. trigger, but your barrel, your bolt carrier, your furniture, everything, that's all going to be complex stuff. That's from old rifles that they had disassembled and decommissioned and sent the parts over here to be sold. Now, I can only think of two companies right now that are actually building full U.S. made rifles out of U.S. made parts. There might be another one that I'm forgetting, but that would be IO and Century, and their U.S. made rifles are shit. They're just no good at all.
Mainly, you got factories that were made by the Cold War or during the Cold War. Those were like states making the factories, so no costs spared. They would just put all this money into the machinery, so that machinery is going to last forever. We got World War II machinery that's still working, so they've got like really big, physically big, heavy duty machinery, and those people tend to like live in a town where that's the only thing going on in the town, so they all kind of know what to do. And so they've got skilled people who at least are familiar with what's going on, and then they got the machinery and they've got the material supplies, where over here we have to emulate all that. And it's just a matter of scale, right? Like, how can a company that's only got a warehouse worth of room and whatever amount of money they're putting into development, what compared to all that Cold War momentum they had?
What is the point of the angle cut on the end of the barrel for the AK?
You talking about the angle cut muzzle brake?
Slant brake, that's just a super efficiency. It worked and it didn't require any kind of fanciness. So just Soviet, that's like an example of Soviet good enough is the enemy of perfection, or perfection is the enemy of good enough.
Yeah, basically the way that angle's cut is the way the gases come out the front of the barrel. It just pushes down on that little piece and it keeps your barrel flatter.
All right. I think it looks cool anyway. I didn't know what it was there for, but it looked pretty cool anyway.
Well, most people are right-handed, like you said. So when you start shooting at full auto, its tendency is to creep up. So that's to basically deflect blast from the muzzle, so that it keeps it down just by its shape. Plus, you could jab people with it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too long that you can still put a bayonet on it. So some of the other stuff that they come with after for shorter barrels and for whatever reasons, it's big, so you can't put a bayonet on it as easy anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then later on they came out with AK-74 style brake, which still, depending on who was making it, you could still use a bayonet with it, and it worked a little bit better than what the slant brake did. But then when you get like your short barreled ones like the Yugo M92, for example, and you put like a Bulgarian brake on there. They have little bayonets for them, or at least they used to. But if you have one of those like Yugo brakes on there, or the not Yugo brake, the Bulgarian brake, or what's the other one? Can't think of what it is now, but it was more of to get you more gas blow back into your gas system to get over some of the finickiness that some of the shorter ones had. You couldn't put a bayonet on one of those because of how big the brake was. And you could put those on a full size rifle too, and you still wouldn't be able to put a bayonet on because of the size. So, anybody else got anything else they want to talk about tonight?
The game Monopoly.
Well, what do you want to know about Monopoly?
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
They need to make a gun version of Monopoly.
Gun monopoly.
How come they don't? Well, I guess they were trying to kill Hangouts completely for a minute there, so they stopped development on the apps. But there should be apps that allow you to play games like that in these chats, right? How hard would that be? It'd be super easy, right?
They did it with World of Warcraft. You could go into like World of Warcraft. Remember when Bejeweled was a big thing? You could go into World of Warcraft and there was an app for it where you could play Bejeweled while you were playing World of Warcraft. You're like playing a game inside of a game.
That just defeats the point, in my opinion.
Well, like if you were waiting for instance to pop or whatever, you'd sit there instead of being bored and doing nothing, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for enough people to queue up for it. You could sit there like playing Bejeweled or Peggle or something like that.
Meh.
That was the point of why they were made. Sometimes you would get in one of those instance queues, and it would take forever for anybody else to queue up for it. And then you sit there for like a half hour waiting for somebody before you can get in there. And it'll be like just one thing you needed from the whole thing. The joys of playing massively multiplayer online RPGs back in the day.
Well, Mr. Rich, I'm going to have to run, sir. I appreciate the invite and everybody on the panel. Great conversation. Thanks for answering a bunch of my questions and stuff. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Have a nice day, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yep, see you later, dude.
You too, David. But other than Monopoly, anything else you want to talk about?
Gary, come up with something.
On the issue of board games with firearms, Clue still has the pistol.
Oh, that's good, because that's the kind of thing that could see him saying, "Oh, they should take that out of there."
It still comes with that. What was like an 8-barreled pepper box for pistol or something like that they called the revolver that it had.
Yeah. I think so, because I just bought a Clue game a couple of years ago. It still has it in there.
Yeah, Monopoly. I think didn't they get rid of the horse statue thing with the guy on the cowboy with he had a 6-gun in his hand. I think they got rid of that piece from Monopoly finally.
Huh.
And remember at one point Monopoly had a cannon?
I do remember that.
And there was a howitzer too. There was one one version of Monopoly had cannon that was in the mount like you would have on a ship, and then they also had another one had the howitzer.
Like different eras, or you'd have to buy like a army version of Monopoly or something.
No, it just depended on when you bought the game because every so often they would change the pieces out.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, because we had both pieces because we had like more than one Monopoly that we had put together in to combine the game. So we went because we had a big family when I was a kid, right? So we combined two Monopoly games together so we would have enough cash and whatnot so that we didn't break the bank. And the one Monopoly game we had the like ship mounted cannon in it, and the other one had a howitzer.
Dude, that's awesome. I would have never thought about putting two Monopoly games together and play for Monopoly. That's awesome.
It made the game last a lot longer.
You start out giving everybody more money?
No, we would start with the same amount of money, but there were just so many of us that would be playing. We would have like 9 people playing. So 9 people playing, you could break that bank real quick.
That's pretty, yeah, that'd be neat. That'd take it to a whole different level of playing too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe the way the rules read in Monopoly, the bank essentially never runs out of money. So if you don't have money, you can just keep track of it on a piece of paper.
Well, that's what was cool about the ones that have the electronic banking cards now. I don't know if you've seen the Monopoly sets with that. You don't have to worry about the paper money. It's all controlled by like a little computer that runs on batteries.
Oh my goodness. Half of the reason you play Monopoly or you have kids play Monopoly is so that they learn money and numbers and stuff, right? Business and rent.
That's why kids can't make change anymore. Is they don't ever play games like Monopoly. They play, these monster games and junk like that. They don't ever play these simple board games.
This one actually teaches kids how to use an ATM. How many times have you ever gone to an ATM and the person in front of you didn't know how to use the damn thing?
I always wonder about the drive-up ATMs that have the Braille on them. It's like if somebody's driving up to an ATM and needs Braille, I'm a little worried about.
Yeah, really.
Right?
Did somebody give Patriot a driver's license?
Well, that's for the people that can see far away but not close up, so that maybe they can tell the difference between numbers and shit. Forgot your bifocals or something. But then I guess they wouldn't know Braille necessarily.
You wouldn't think they would anyway.
Like my nearsightedness is so bad, I'm going to learn Braille.
Yeah, right.
You should.
On the other hand, the Braille numbers aren't that hard, so they are something pretty simple to remember. It's kind of like dominoes.
The one about Monopoly, the pieces that they got rid of that irritated my wife was they got rid of the thimble. She would always play as the thimble. I don't know what it was about the thimble, but she had to use that piece.
It always reminded me of a robot finger, so I'm glad that they got rid of it because it's so traumatic for people. Why would they get rid of a thimble? Like,
they got rid of that. They got rid of the wheelbarrow, I believe, and the puppy.
So what? They just have a top hat and that's it now?
Well, they got rid of those and they put in some other pieces. And it's like, yeah, every so often they'll change the pieces, but usually there was like iconic pieces that they wouldn't change out. For some reason, the last time that when it was on the news that they were changing out pieces, they had a big backlash because they got rid of like the puppy, the iron, the thimble.
They got rid of the thimble, the wheelbarrow, and the shoe or the boot or whatever it was, and they put in a penguin, a rubber duck, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Well, I just have to refuse to play if that's what was going on. Just out of general principles.
They need to have an infographic that explains the pieces better. Oh, here we go. They did it by vote. So they usually have an animal, fashion, historical, footwear, inventions, social media, transportation, and things that float. So it used to be a boat, and then it was like a surfboard, and then they had the car, and they had some kind of 4-wheel drive truck for a while, and a Grand Prix car, and a airplane. Then the wheelbarrow turned into a cell phone, and then like a wagon wheel, and then a bicycle, and then a computer. And the footwear changed it from a cowboy boot to a roller skate to a gym shoe to a flip flop, a bunch of other shoes. Thimble changed into a television and a typewriter and a trumpet and a bathtub and a record player and a telephone. Damn, almost all of them were T's. If they would have got rid of the key in the bathtub or the record player. The top hat turned into sunglasses and a watch and a cowboy hat and a bow tie and a wristwatch. And then the dog turned into a Tyrannosaurus and a penguin and a bunny rabbit and a regular horse. Oh, a rooster. And then a turtle and a fish.
Well, we know now what Terry's favorite Monopoly piece is going to be, right?
I think that one's gone now. I think that's, it's gone.
You might be able to find an old set that has it.
Oh, that's true. Looks like you can buy them all over eBay. I didn't even know they ever changed the pieces. And now
I can't remember what's in my set, but it's about 10 years old.
And then they have a horseman set. I knew they had versions of Monopoly that are like things. So maybe that's where some of those come from. Oh, I bet you that's what it is. Some of those are from sets that are specific, right? And they just keep like those types of pieces in it. Something that floats in a footwear.
It's possible. Because my kids, they have a Phineas and Ferb Monopoly set, and its pieces are different. Then we had the Star Wars one, too. Star Wars Monopoly set actually comes with like 4 coins, 4 or 5, not real gold, but gold coins to them. And each one of those is worth $1,000.
But those aren't pieces. Those are like the pieces are R2D2 and
yeah, the pieces are like Star Wars characters.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And if I remember right, instead of houses and hotels, you had X-wing fighters, and I'm trying to remember what the other. And there was a capital ship, I think, if I remember right. If you were playing an Alliance character, you would use those. If you were playing a Dark Side character, then you would have like TIE fighters and a Star Destroyer. So there was like 2 different sets of houses and 2 different sets of hotels, depending on if you were playing somebody from the Empire or the Rebellion.
Let's see, Patriot got in on the YouTube chat after we were talking about him a second ago.
And he must have heard his name with his super hearing.
Yeah, he brought up the race car. I forgot about the race car. Yeah, there was a race car in there.
Yeah, the race car just changes. It was a 4-wheel drive, it looks like, and then it just changes from like that old kind of race car to different types. Like a Corvette looking one and a Grand Prix looking one and a motorcycle.
And he had that old fashioned race car looking one too.
What do you call it? It looks like a soapbox derby, except what soapbox derby cars look like. I don't know what they call them. They just call it an antique car.
You're talking about like the old-fashioned race cars with they were real narrow and then they had the big wheels on the outside.
Yeah, and they're basically just an engine with a seat behind it and then a little bit of cowling.
Yeah. Patriot said he heard blind guy jokes, so here he is. Patriot, how often do you drive up to an ATM at the bank? Out of curiosity. Yeah, Gary was wondering earlier because he was talking about how ATM machines have Braille on them when at the drive-up one at the banks.
Well, he said that's because of capitalism. One building built all the ATMs, drive up or otherwise.
Now, Patriot, he's out there making sense. He says ATMs are built by one company, one style for everything, indoors or drive up. That's why they have Braille and the earphone jacks. He just has to ruin everything. I tell you, some people.
He does.
Maybe for people that drive up to the ATM backwards or drive in the other way, and then they have somebody in the passenger seat who needs all that.
Well, that's what my daughter said. You could have somebody in the back seat.
Oh, that's true too. Uber it over there. They knew Uber was coming, so they set it up years ahead of time.
Yeah, people that use logic though, they just things. We're just having fun making, picking on banks for being silly and putting real ATM machines at the drive-up window, and then he has to go and explain why. And, man, he just ruined it.
Well, at least they don't have Braille on the controls of a car. Now, that really would make you worry.
Okay, so where was I at? I was somewhere, and I don't remember where anymore. But I was doing something. I was taking a video of something, and I look over. I think I was on the Vegas Strip. I was on the Vegas Strip, and I was taking a video of the Vegas lights and everything. And I look over at the car next to me because there was a computer screen, like a touch screen, like a tablet, but like permanently on the dash side or on the dashboard of the passenger, which is just weird. It was way too built in to be just somebody to hold somebody's tablet or something. Like it was there for some reason, right? And I paid more attention to it, and it said all over it, automatically driving car or something like that, or automated car. So there was two human beings in there watching the computer displays of its thought process as it tried to murder all humans. And then it was like driving the Vegas Strip. I got it on video. I should try to find it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they've tried that with Uber and some other companies where they had the fully automated cars. The Uber driver would just sit there with the steering wheel in case something went wrong, but the car would actually drive itself.
They were doing it in Phoenix and it killed somebody, or was it in
Michigan?
It killed somebody? Somewhere it killed somebody.
Yeah. I know they were trying, like you said, they were trying in Phoenix. I don't remember. They were also trying in San Francisco. I think San Francisco, they banned them because they were causing traffic problems. I don't remember if somebody was, but I remember somebody was killed by one of them, but I don't remember if it was Phoenix or San Francisco. But I remember reading about it in San Francisco. They banned them because they were causing problems with traffic.
There's 3 of them. So you can go onto the internet and you can type in how many times has a robot car killed a human, and then there's a whole Wikipedia article about it. So the first time was in 2000. Let's see. Incident? No, there's 4 incidents. 4 people have been killed by a car. 3 in the United States. 2016, 2016. The first one was in January of 2016. First person to be killed to death by a car was in China. And nobody learned a lesson from that. So in May of 2016, United States, Florida, another person killed to death by a car, a Tesla car. Third one is March of 2018, just moments ago, Tempe, Arizona. It was in Arizona. Uber killed to death by a Volvo car. Then in March of 2018 is the 4th one in California. Maybe that's why people mix them up, because they were only days apart. Skynet was bloodthirsty. Another Tesla killed to death. Another person. 4 people have been killed to death by cars.
Well, the one in China, the people might have ignored it just thinking it was Chinese crap, you know?
Tesla autopilot. So 3 Tesla autopilots have killed humans, and 1 Uber car has killed a human. That was the Phoenix one. So Florida, California, Arizona, deaths by cars.
It makes you wonder, man. They can't even perfect AI in video games. What made them think that one could drive a damn car?
So the one in Florida in 2016 had driven 130 million miles before it killed someone. So it's that car, autopilot car, drove 130 million miles according to Wikipedia. How can I even?
That just seems a little excessive. I don't know if the car would have that long of a lifespan.
No car does. That has to be 100,000 miles.
Yeah, that's got to be a misprint. It is Wikipedia, so who knows?
Oh, it's true. It's on Wikipedia, so you're right. 130 million miles.
Oh, man. Talking light years of travel. Are they sure it wasn't a shuttlecraft?
I guess it means the number of all robot cars, not just that one. So at the time when that person was murdered to death by a Tesla car, robot cars had driven 130 million miles.
How many robot cars are on the road, though?
It says there are currently 6 levels of automated driving. 2 are considered autonomous, levels 4 and level 5. A Tesla autopilot is level 2 automated driving. So, oh, I see. It could be Tesla autopilot and, oh, look at this. Okay, I'm not reading this right. So 4 people have been killed to death by cars. 3 of them, all those Tesla ones, are autopilot, where somebody's taken a nap and sets their car on autopilot and then their car kills them. So the driver died in all 3 of those. The one in Arizona, the Uber car, killed to death a pedestrian. So that pedestrian was just an innocent on the side of the street, and Skynet was like, your time to die. Like, they probably were going to have a child that would eventually be John Connor. So, wham, kills him. Other ones were drivers who were probably going to have children that were John Connor, and they killed all of them too, but by steering them off the road while they were sleeping. So it was a little different. It killed humans to death, but by putting on comfortable music, probably turning up the heat so that they fell asleep, and then it drove them off the road.
Or it turned the air conditioner up so high that they froze to death in their sleep.
Well, that could happen. Like, they slow down and then it slams them into a wall, and then that way it feels like they're slamming into the wall really slow because and that's just evil. Yeah, Skynet's evil. But no, it doesn't say how many cars there are, because I guess if you count Tesla having that autopilot, there's a whole bunch, right? And if they're counting every time somebody turns on autopilot on a Tesla car,
that's 100 and some thousand million and whatever it was miles. That's a lot of these automated cars that would have to be making up that number.
the Google self-driving car project has covered 5 million miles with the presence of a human driver who monitors and overrides the autonomous mode. According to reports, the human intervention was needed every 13 to 5,600 miles on average. That's the least useful statistic ever. 13 to 5,600 miles on average. How can they even put that in?
That's not even an average. That's a range.
Yeah, exactly. It's a massive, massive range. I don't know what they're trying to say there, but this is the worst. This is not a very good Wikipedia article, because I have no idea how many of those robot cars that actually drive themselves around are.
Oh, man. This, boys and girls, is why when you go to college, Wikipedia is not a valid reference source.
Didn't exist when I went to college.
That's just special right there. Not surprising, but still special.
Patriot says he has 4 driver's licenses.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he says that's another story. What is this, a Conan movie now? Where's the old wizard guy when you need him to narrate?
Which one?
And from Conan, remember, what was his name? Meko played him, and he always narrated at the end of the 2 Conan movies. He narrated about what was happening, and he always said, and at the end of both of them, he was like, "But that is another story."
I haven't seen that in so long. I have to go back and watch those again. Going back a ways. Dead air.
Yeah.
No, not that air.
Wake up, Night Strike. Come on. Throw shall not be infringed out there. Wake everybody up.
Yeah, wake up, people.
Yeah.
Give him the
Patriot said all his licenses are expired.
Oh.
Well, that's his problem.
What was that 80s comedy where the old woman had to go to driver's school because she was blind and they had her taking driver's ed?
I don't remember this.
There was a bunch of people, right, that got in trouble for different infractions, so they all sent them to a driver's ed school. And one of them was this old lady. I think it was one of the women from the old Wendy's commercial. Not the one that actually goes "Where's the beef?" But the one was always her friend that was always with her. And, yeah, I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but she literally couldn't see her hand in front of her face, and she's taking a driver's education class. Every time she was the one that was driving, everybody would get scared and not want to get in the car. What was the name of that movie?
Oh. I think I know what you're talking about now. The whole movie was basically about a driving school.
Yeah, James Keach was in it. Played the bad guy cop who was out to get the main character in the movie.
What was the name of that? I saw that movie. Darn.
Moving
Violations. That's what it was.
1985.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It was
Sounds
also
about right.
Academy Crash Course, 1988.
This is back when I still watched a few movies. Now you just wait till they come out on video and watch them in your house.
John Murray, Jennifer Tilly, James Keach. Yeah, that sounds like what you're talking about.
Midnight saying that he's stuck in traffic on a highway somewhere because it must have been an accident because a flatbed just went by him.
A lot of times that'll happen because of like all the ambulance that are showing up at his restaurant.
Oh, he's off today. That's not that he gets a pass on this one because he's off on Sundays. Sundays is one day off a week because they're not open. And he says they went on a day trip and they're on their way back home and they're stuck in traffic. By any chance, were you on the PA Turnpike? Because that seems to always happen when I'm on the PA Turnpike. You're always. I swear to God, every time I've ever been on the PA Turnpike in my life, It seems like there's an accident that stops traffic going one direction.
Isn't that how it always is?
I don't know if you go down Interstate 79.
All you got to do is go onto Google Maps and tell like go home or whatever, and then it'll tell you how long the delay is in front of you. And if there's a quicker way, it'll tell you like this way is 15 minutes faster, or this way is an hour faster, or whatever.
I know I've had them tell me accident ahead.
Mm-hmm. But it'll tell you like 10-minute delay, 5-minute delay. So sometimes it looks really bad, but it'll say 5-minute delay, and sure enough, it's 5 minutes because it can tell where every single person is. So now it knows who's moving and doesn't happen.
Yeah, he says they're completely stopped right now. Traffic isn't moving.
That doesn't sound good.
Nope.
It does not.
Like I said, if he's on the PA Turnpike, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. I've seen that happen many times on that road. Don't know why. It does. It's
but
not that bad of a road.
They push the people over, they get 2 lanes going, and then it just takes a minute. Everybody's fine.
What I was going to say earlier before, but with Interstate 79, it's not accidents you got to worry about. That road is always under construction or repair.
Yeah, that's
good. What were you going to say, G-Webs?
That's a little different when it goes down to 1 lane. I've driven through so much of that I don't know. I guess we have it here occasionally, but I just don't drive enough at home. When I'm at home, I don't drive that much. So, especially not on the highway. So that would be annoying. You had to drive through some of the places where it goes down from like 3 lanes to 1 lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I-79 between Pittsburgh and Morgantown. At some point, you're going to run into that. It never fails.
I believe it.
I believe Night Strike's from that area.
No,
I'm from that area. I'm originally from Pittsburgh. I've been up and down I-79 between Morgantown and Pittsburgh many times. And that stretch of road is always having road work done on it.
I have never been through that area.
Been through part of PA, but never that part.
Yeah, but I've never been through PA.
Well, parts of it are very rural. At least the part I was in was.
Yeah, once you get out of like Erie, Pittsburgh, or Philadelphia areas, you get in some really rural area.
Some huge barns I can remember.
Mm. Were you on Interstate 80 by any chance?
I don't remember which one it was, but it would have been on the western edge of the state.
Or western edge of the state. That I-79 runs north to south on the western edge of the state.
Coming up along the lake there, so that was a few years ago.
Yeah, 80 runs across like the northern part of the state from east to west.
Let's see, maps. Pennsylvania. Would have been. Guess I-90. Yeah.
I-90?
Well, that's what this map says anyway. Goes along Lake Erie.
Okay. Yeah. Way up there.
Came through Cleveland and went up that way. Headed to Niagara Falls, so yeah, it would have been I-90.
Okay, so you went through Erie County and up that way. And for some reason, until you said about the lake, I was like just not clicking where I-90 was. And he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now."
Well, I had to pull Apple Maps back up and look because that was almost 10 years ago when I made that trip. So
It's been a while since I've been up to that part of the state. When you look at a map of Pennsylvania, you know how like on the map of Norway or Denmark they have that cross that's like offset to the left. When you look at the state of Pennsylvania, I-80 going east to west and I-79 going north to south form like that cross shape on the state of Pennsylvania.
I need to take a vacation and go somewhere. It requires money.
Yes, it does. That's the bad thing about vacations.
Drive somewhere?
It's not much fun going alone.
Drive somewhere?
Take George.
George doesn't drive. In fact, George doesn't even ride well.
George doesn't travel.
She Webbs takes Marshmallow and she doesn't drive.
Dogs will usually do that.
Cats sometimes will do it if they like start out driving around in cars and then they dig it, but most of the time they don't like it
Yeah, my daughter's cats, they don't have any problem with it, but George does not like it at all.
I had this little kid that I just started driving around with him all the time. Or was it a her? I think a her all the time. And she didn't care one way or the other. She liked the vehicle. It was like her little house, but other cats I've seen hate going near a car.
Our female cat can't. She's a hard one to put in the car because she'll get sick. But then the gray one that you've all seen before, he gets like a dog. He wants to stick his head out the window and all that other stuff. He loves being in the car.
As long as they don't jump out the window.
He'll just do like, a dog will stick their head out the window and open their mouth, and he'll do that.
Used to have a friend that raised Dobermans, and it wasn't uncommon at all to see that car going down the highway and the Doberman have his head stuck out. And it'd stick out quite a ways. It's a good-sized dog, and he was just looking out, seeing what was going on. They'd be going up and down the road. It's pretty easy to tell it was him because you'd see the dog coming.
Mm-hmm. Dogs and cats can be crazy animals at times.
Yeah, I got both, and my daughter has both.
And we don't have a dog right now because we can only have 2 animals. So it was the cats.
My daughter's got she got 3 dogs and 2 cats. I got 2 dogs, a cat, and a guinea pig.
Before we moved, you don't want to know how many cats my wife had in the house and outside because she was rescuing them, and we had a buttload of cats everywhere. The good thing was we didn't have any mice. The mice were smart enough to stay away from our house.
Yeah, oh yeah. I found out right away that George was a mouser because I went away on a weekend trip and come back and found 3 dead mice in the house. Haven't seen any since.
Yeah, when you got like, I'm trying to remember how many cats it was in the house. At one point, my wife had 11 cats in the house.
Oh my God.
That's like, and then there were like 5 or 6 outside.
And say, how many litter boxes do you have in that place?
Litter box mansion.
I kept telling you, you gotta get rid of some of these cats. You gotta get rid of some of these cats. You gotta get rid of some of these cats. Eventually, she started to. She started taking them to different animal shelters and stuff. Oh, thank God. Not as many cats.
See, I got 1 cat, and as much as he sheds, I can't imagine having 10 of them in this house.
The worst part was the ones that I always wanted to keep were the ones that she would get rid of. Why is it always the one that I want that you get rid of? It's like, God damn it.
She said to get rid of the cats.
Yeah, but I specifically would tell her not to get rid of that one.
Well, who knows? Maybe she did it just to spite you.
It could be.
It's not. If you're only getting over to watch Gun Gals now, are they starting late? Good Lord. They normally start at 9:30? Or they change the time on it again?
I think you're right. Bet there's no dead air on that show.
Bet not.
No. Mm-mm. Get a bunch of women talking, yeah.
Rich doesn't sound too enthusiastic about that.
Well, I opened up the door for him, and he walked right through it. So,
Well, you know, it happens.
Because I just give no cares.
He cares not.
Nope.
I'm not a married man. I won't have to pay for that remark later on. See,
I'll tell my wife right to her face, you talk too much. I've done it many times. Like, Jesus Christ, will you shut up?
Then she tells you to shut up.
and you're still alive? Wow.
Yeah. So.
She'll come home from work and she won't shut up for an hour. It's like, will you shut up? I don't care. Going right on. This happened to work today. This happened to
That's what Ear Pro is for, Rich. Put them little earplugs in.
Jesus Christ, I don't give a shit.
You can reduce that about 25 dB.
Except I don't like using earbuds, so that don't work. I can't
I
stand
was
it.
talking about those orange earplugs like you could buy at the range.
Yeah, and I can't stand having things like that in my ear. I got over to ear muffs. So that wouldn't work.
Well, you could tell you're listening to music when in fact all you're doing is just, blocking out the sound.
She knows what they are, so that wouldn't work either.
Well, now some of them you get actually can play music through them.
Yeah, you can with these. You got that has jack where you can hook a wire to your like your whatever your phone or whatever.
Yeah, I think my Howard Lights can do that. I've never done it.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got 2 pairs of those. Got them as a 2-pack from Amazon. And all the little earplug type that I won from Rick, my youngest daughter, confiscated those because she doesn't like using over-the-ear ones because they bug her with her glasses.
Thought you was going to tell me it messed up her hair.
No, she's not vain like that.
Yeah.
We got a gal out at work that refuses to wear over the headset like that because it messes her hair up.
Gee, would you rather have your hair a mess or not be able to hear?
Well, I don't have that problem because I don't have enough hair to mess up.
Wow, just shoot yourself in the foot, Gary.
You do when you're wearing your chicken mask.
I was going to say, what little I do, I usually keep cut really, really short. So
Oh,
I don't worry about going bald night strike. It's been going for years now. That's
all
just
right. If you're comfortable with that, okay.
that doesn't bother me at all. No. It started when I was about 40 and it's gotten progressively worse.
Don't sound too excited about it.
Well, it's just, it's just part of life. I mean, not everybody has a full head of hair, especially when you're in your upper 50s like I am.
Yeah.
Some do. I mean, my dad never did go bald or anything like that. And I've known people that were half bald when they were like 30 years old. A lot of it's hereditary. That's what they got hats for.
Really?
Yeah.
Hats is to protect your head.
No. I've been wearing hats. Shoot, we wore hats in high school. I come from a rural community. A lot of us worked farm jobs during the summer and stuff like that. So it wasn't uncommon at all to see people wearing, caps and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were developed to keep your head from getting sunburned. Even if you got a full head of hair, your head can still get sunburned.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Sitting on a lifeguard bench.
That's no bueno.
That's painful too.
Mm-hmm.
No umbrella or anything, just sitting up there on that damn thing. It looked cool when you're a kid. Hey, I want one of them. And wait till you have to get up there and sit on the damn thing and keep an eye on the swimming pool. It ain't so cool anymore. Baywatch made being a lifeguard look so glamorous and awesome.
It's not.
No, it's not. An important job, but it's not glamorous by any stretch of imagination.
Well, I didn't grow up near any oceans, so the only lifeguards we had were, local swimming pools and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's where I was a lifeguard, was at a local pool. And the best one's when you had an idiot who couldn't swim and decided, hey, I'm going to jump in the deep end.
Go for it.
Like, what the hell is this idiot doing? And you got to get out the hook because you're not supposed to jump in after him because you do that and you're putting yourself in danger and all that stuff. So get this big ass hook. It looks, like the cartoons where they hook somebody and pull them off stage, something like that. Stick it in the water and they got to grab onto it. If they can't grab onto it, then you get it. You got to try and play around with it where you get it up underneath their arms and bring them out. And it's like, oh my god, that was a pain in the ass.
How often did you have to do that?
Not very, thank God. But every so often, you get that one dumbass.
Let's see, we pretty much all had to take swimming lessons when we were kids.
If you had a school with a swimming pool, you were taught to swim, but not all the schools had swimming pools.
Oh, no, we didn't.
if you didn't go to a school with a swimming pool, there was a lot of people that didn't learn how to swim.
The town I grew up in didn't even have an indoor pool. Oh gosh, up until probably the early 80s when they built a recreation center for the school district. It had an indoor pool. Before that, the only time you could go swimming was basically between Memorial Day and Labor Day when the city pool was open.
Yeah, that's when the city pools were open. But just about every high school and middle school in the city of Pittsburgh had their own swimming pool. There were a couple that didn't because when they were built.
Then a few of the local lakes actually had swimming beaches on them too.
Yeah.
And on those, you could pretty much wade out into the water. So unless you waded too far, you were in pretty good shape.
Yeah, we would during if it was warm enough, we would cut school and go jump in one of the rivers.
Oh, yeah, I've done that. Farm ponds, yeah.
When your school's in within walking distance of the Allegheny River, and it's 80 degrees, you only got a half day. Who needs to go to a half day of school? Let's go jump in the river and then go walk around downtown smelling like a river. In soaking wet underwear. Because even though we were planning on doing it, nobody was smart enough to bring shorts. So, it's like jumping in your underwear.
Heck yeah. Well, you didn't plan for every eventuality when you were like 17 years old.
No, we were younger than that. This would have been middle school.
But these were in the good old days, and I'm old enough to remember, and we all drove our cars to school and parked out on the city streets outside the school. And half of us drove pickups, and it wasn't uncommon at all to see gun racks in the back of the pickup, gun or two hanging there.
Yeah, when I was in high school, we had teachers that would drive their trucks to school, and they had like their shotgun and hunting rifle hanging in the back window too.
And not one person ever got shot or even thought about taking one of those guns and shooting somebody with it.
Yeah. Well, like I've said before, none of the 1903s in the Junior RTC Armory got up out of the armory and shot anybody. They were all fully operable, fully capable of doing it. None of them ever did.
And typically, the only reason they were there is the kids were going to go after school and go hunting.
Yeah. Oh, and none of the sabers that we had in there got up and decided they were going to cut anybody either. And there was lots of 22 ammunition in there too. And we had the 22 rifles. None of them got up and hurt anybody. None of the air rifles shot anybody. So,
I can remember when I was in Cub Scouts and we had part of it where we had to do some target shooting with BB guns. Shoot, I think I was probably all of 10 or 11 years old at the time. We did it inside of an armory.
When I was in high school, the junior RTC department, our marksmanship team, the air rifle course was in the school. If we were shooting like 22s, we had to go with North Park, which were outside city limits, and it's north of the city, obviously with the name North Park, right? But they had a public range, and that's where we would shoot the 22s.
We never had any kind of organized, like, real gun shooting. That wasn't a sport back in the day, but now some of the schools here in Kansas are actually they've got like, the skeet teams and stuff like that. And it's bigger cities, of course, but
yeah, the junior RTC marksmanship team, we shot competition. That's what we did. Like you started on air rifle, Then you would do air pistol, and then you would move up to 22 caliber air rifle, and then 22 rifle. That's what we did.
Well, originally, I did a little bit of looking into it, like the history of our state rifle association, and found out what those were originally for. The purpose was to make sure that young men coming up into the service actually knew how to shoot a rifle, and because they didn't have training so much back then, kids were coming up and they couldn't shoot the broadside of a barn, so they developed these state rifle associations. So they had these youth programs and stuff like that to teach kids how to shoot.
Right. And when we went to summer camp for junior RTC, we were trained on the M16A1. I told the story about when the sergeant who was instructing us the one year thought he was going to be a smart aleck and try and teach somebody why they don't have us firing full auto, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Boy, I made him look like a schmuck. He didn't think anybody would have had experience. So he's like, we're going to demonstrate who's the best shot. He thought I was going to get up there and just blast away. He didn't think I was going to get up there and do like short controlled burst with it, you know?
But he never forgot that.
And don't underestimate somebody just because of their age. They have experience that you don't know about, you know? I mean, how many people realistically would expect a 16-year-old kid to have, it's especially like from the late 80s onward, you know, after the Hughes Amendment passed and everything, of having any kind of experience with a full auto rifle? To be honest,
I imagine there weren't a lot of them.
Yeah, not many people would expect that to be the case. You know. But you never know.
You don't.
Of course, it's like my daughter, when I took her to we went to the range together about 3.5 years ago, and I was trying to give her a pointer or two, you know, about how to aim and stuff, and she looked at me and she said, "Dad, I grew up in Arkansas. I know how to shoot a gun." It's like, well, yeah, you probably do. See, I and her mother, you know, divorced when she was 3, and so she grew up, you know, with a stepdad and stuff like that, and they did live out on a farm for a while. I forgot all about the fact that, yeah, they probably did occasionally handle guns down there. So,
Yeah.
and she can shoot.
Yeah.
So,
A needle pulling thread.
I'm working on GunTube. I'm sorry. I'm not very conversationalist tonight.
Uh-huh.
And no, I'm not working on anything special. I'm just doing busy work.
Uh-huh.
well, I guess this is a time where I say, "Shall not be infringed."
Right.
But I
And
don't.
for a chicken, that means they shall not be plucked.
Yeah, doesn't have the same impact.
Shall not be plucked.
Thou shalt not be infringeth.
Thou shalt not plucketh me.
Give them themeth the birdeth.
Something like that. I'll tell you what's scary now. You know that chicken mask I had? So I still have it. But I was out of town at my daughter's yesterday and most of today. And I have remote, webcam set up in my house where I can check on things and stuff like that. And I had taken last night after wearing that in the chat, I'd taken that thing off and stuck it on a camera tripod out in the middle of the room. Well, I went to view my webcam this afternoon and I just had the thing right perfect where it was lined up with the camera. And that's a scary sight. I'll tell you what, you turn on the camera and see a chicken head sticking up at you.
A Klingon chicken head, no less.
Yeah. It's like kind of spooky.
Chicken heads matter.
Uh-huh.
I guess that's true.
If you're a chicken.
If you're a chicken, yes.
Yeah, you can see it behind me there. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. It looks like somebody killed Chicken Boo.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
That's
Chicken Boo
real
put his
bad.
head on a pike.
Well, it's 8 minutes to midnight, and he probably is still not anywhere near home.
Yeah. He hasn't responded, so I don't.
Wonder if he's put anything over in his chat. I was gonna go look.
I don't know. Maybe he put someone on Instagram or something.
He's been doing a lot of that Instagram lately. He's really taken to that.
Yeah, I'm constantly getting tagged. Hey, look! I was like, Jesus, midnight. He was doing dumplings or something earlier.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Making them by hand.
Mm-hmm. Him and his Chinese fusion stuff.
Chinese fusion.
That's what he does. You ever see his cooking videos and whatnot? That's what he does. He has Asian fusion.
Oh, well, I just had a request for a link.
Are you sending out links?
Just one. I don't think you'll have any problem with this one.
Oh, I thought you were saying Midnight Central.
Well, it'd help if I'd know how to copy and paste. Let's see. Copy. Okay. And paste. Amazing, it worked.
Rupan wants a link. Is that who you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, I had posted it over in Gun Channels earlier. I think he was before he got there.
Well, I didn't see. Did you have this chat posted in Gun Channels?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's there.
I don't see it.
It was there. They go bye-bye.
On the main lobby?
Yeah, the main page, yeah.
I don't see it.
Posted it 2 hours ago. Right above budgets.
Nope, I don't see it anyway. I see budgets and then Clover Tech posted Gun Gals about 20 minutes ago. Nothing in between the two.
Refresh the page because yeah, right below Clover's on my screen.
Well, I don't see it.
Yeah, because G-Web's commented on it too.
Well, that's bizarre. Why am I not seeing it then? Let me bring it up in another browser and see if it looks different. I still don't see it.
That's weird.
Let me look on my phone.
That's like last week when I couldn't screen share. Well, we get more people in here and Midnight can't go live. We can always do one of the brackets I've set up.
Well, he may just be a little late. Surely he'll show up.
Well, who knows how long they're stuck in traffic, especially if you're on the PA Turnpike. They can be sitting there for hours. I know from experience with that.
Nope, I'm looking on my phone and I don't see anything between Budget and Clover.
Huh, that's weird.
Unless somehow you're invisible to me. I can't imagine why that would be. You didn't block me, did you?
Nope.
I'd ask the people out in the chat, but I think Rupan's the only one who isn't in the hangout.
Good morning.
Hey,
Oh.
John.
Yo, John Z.
How's everybody?
John Zena.
Hey, John. John, head over to Gun Channels real quick, the main page, and see if you see where I posted this.
All right. Where am I? I am in last night's Daily Gun Show. I guess I gotta refresh.
Come on, John. We know you secretly own Bloomberg's top floor apartment. And you're the only person stopping him from creating a giant mansion.
Nope. Goes straight from Roosted to G-Webs to Budget.
Huh. Yeah, because I'm looking, I see Clover, then me, then Budget.
Oh, you must be private.
Yep, you must be set to private.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Yeah, some people I go to their page and it says the page forget about things that they posted. I don't know why that is.
That or when you did the post, is it set to only me or friends only or? So on mine, you can set it to everyone, friends and networks, friends only, or only me.
Well, usually, people, I don't have any problem with having other people like replying to it and stuff. Like I said, G-Web's replied.
Or is it sent to just the people that are in the show?
I looked and I didn't see it, and I had to actually go to channels and then click on unloaded media.
That's odd.
And when I do that, and I go to those pages that I can't see things posted on the top page, it'll say private, and I won't be able to access anything.
Well, if G-Webs comes back, we can ask him.
Yeah.
I believe he's going to be working on it soon, because he said he's going to be revamping the website again, right?
I hadn't heard. Is that true?
It must be.
If Joan Z said it, it has to be true.
Right?
Well,
John
I
Z,
ain't.
John Z
I ain't
wouldn't
no
lie to
CNN.
us. Isn't that right, John?
I ain't no CNN. That's for sure.
How do we know he's not Jonas Z? Really?
Oh.
Give me everything in your ear.
Oh.
I've been on gun channels too long. Characters are starting to meld together now.
I know, right? Night Z. Z Strike.
Can't take my name.
We're not taking it. We're baking it together.
Mm,
Isn't there a band called Night Strike?
I don't know, but I think baking was the subject of Gunsnob's channel last night.
Yeah, the band's #1 song was "Shall Not Be Infringed."
Yeah, that was it. Just repeated the
That's-
same line over and over.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, last night on Gunsnob we were talking about people getting baked.
Half baked.
I put all the stuff from the M Carbo. I spent $300 over there and put it all on the S2000 or sub 2000. And I like some of the stuff, and some of the billet stuff I do not like at all. Like the trigger guard in the Caltech Sub 2K. You push down and it opens up and it folds in half.
Are you buying me a birthday present for when I reach my final destination?
But when the hell is that going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There,
where
check
is
that
I
out.
don't know. I'm giving him plenty of time.
There's their website.
Woo.
Night
Oh
Strike.
man,
Spelled the
Nice.
same way, even.
Yeah.
you're gonna get hit with you're gonna be infringing on their name.
They're Finnish. So
Oh,
Nah, I'm fine.
so he's just gonna have a couple.
Yeah, they don't
drinks
really
with him.
matter.
You better have a couple drinks with him just to make sure.
When was their page copyrighted?
released October 18th of 2018. That's 3 days ago. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, Night Strike, you got a copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
complaint
I've been
here.
using the name Night Strike on the internet since 1997.
Well, this
So
is
were you-
nightstrike.bandcamp.com.
What were you in a chat room? Like, what were you?
No, I've just been on the internet forever, okay?
What the hell was I doing in 1997? I think I was playing Half-Life.
In
I
'97.
was playing. I don't think you were playing Half-Life in 97.
Yeah, it came out in 97.
Did it?
I thought Half-Life was 98.
Maybe it was 98.
Yeah, Half-Life was released in 1998, so
Damn.
I don't know what you were playing in 97, but it wasn't Half-Life.
It must have been GoldenEye then.
Probably.
Formed in late 2015, Night Strike is a Finnish-based heavy metal band from the
Hold
town
on.
of Jorvaa.
Hold on, I've been doing YouTube since like 2014. There we go.
Shall not be infringed. You're being
Shall not be-
I
infringed.
think you're being infringed, Night Strike.
I think I am too. I'm
Or is he really Finnish? And he's just shouting all these American slogans
That
and shit.
could be it,
Are,
too.
are you and Ellis spies from Finland?
no.
It took you a while to answer. Are you sure?
Were you thinking about your answer?
I think he's thinking about the answer to the answer.
I think he's thinking. I think he's thinking about the answer now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Night Strike is gonna leave if you keep, saying these things.
No, it's just suspicious,
Well, take your suspicions and, shut them right up your ass.
No. You're about the
All the way up your ass.
Oh my God! Speaking of the Kavanaugh thing, did you see the clip on Instagram with Stormy Daniels' attorney, where somebody said that where he was being right-wing journalist, and he said the journalist, I forget what it was, he said something about her being a sex worker or getting paid for sex, and the attorney looked at him and said, "She does not get paid for sex." It's like, wait a minute, she's a porn star. That's exactly what she did.
The last one on Instagram I saw with her was her taking it in the ass from the lawyer to pay back the bill.
Oh man, there's a bunch of great games that came out in '97.
Jedi Knight.
Yeah, Masters of Terras Kasi, that definitely played that. Postal, I mean, that was a big game.
Star Wars, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight.
I think I ripped Postal. Did you ever play that?
There was also the other one, Mysteries of the Sith.
Riven, the sequel to Mist. I don't remember the sequel to Mist, but I remember Lighthouse.
Riven, the sequel to Mist, was it spanned a couple CDs. Unlike Mist was just one CD, this one was like 6 CDs. I've got them all somewhere buried in a box, but I loved Riven because it was a really good game.
Did you ever play the Journeyman Project?
We're going to be multiple discs. I mean,
I have all 3 of them.
Did you play the Journeyman Project?
I have all 3 of them.
Oh, that was one of my favorite game series ever. I don't know why, but I used to play Mist.
I have Turbo. I have Buried in Time. I have, what was the last one? Legacy of Time. And then I just got, they made a remake back in the late 90s of the first one using some of the actors from 2 or the second game. And they never released it on the PC. They only released it on the Mac. But they just, the last 2 or 3 years, they actually re-released it for PC. I've got that too. It's called Pegasus Prime. You can get them all on GOG for like $5-10 a piece.
Nice.
GOG is goodoldgames.com.
Yeah, 007 came out in 97. Grand Theft Auto, of course, dude. I loved it when you could run over the group of those dudes. It was great. I don't know why that was. Final Fantasy 7. I was never a big fan, but my brother absolutely loved it.
I played the shit out of Final Fantasy 7.
He used to drive me nuts. I've probably seen him beat it at least 3 times.
Yeah.
But yeah. Postal was the game where you murder all the kids in the school, or no, you're a post office worker and you go nuts. Outlaws. Oh, dude, I haven't seen that game in forever. Did you ever play that? The Wild West game where you go around murdering everybody?
Yeah, it's made by the same company that made all the Star Wars games.
Game.
I've got that one too.
Yeah. How the hell did I get all these games? I don't know why I had a. I must have been ripping them, or I don't know. We didn't have peer-to-peer back then. So how the hell was I getting them?
Probably borrowed them from friends.
Maybe, yeah.
That was the only way. As long as it didn't require a CD key, you could install the game on your computer.
Fighting Force, I remember that game. Clay Fighter, I remember that one, rings a bell. Wow, man, what a crazy year for games.
Ghost is out there. Casper, you got a dang link, man. If you want to jump in, I already emailed you one for a little while. I mean, I don't know how long we're gonna keep this going because midnight.
You're kind of holding on for midnight at this point.
Yeah, really. We're just filling in time because midnight. He's having issues stuck on a highway somewhere.
Yeah, he got
an accident or something.
I have a ridiculous story that you guys can help me ponder. If you guys want to go in a different direction, automotive.
Okay.
I have my 2500 has the diesel Silverado. It's a 07. And I've had crazy ABS problems, and I cut a zip tie. Now, it's like under the driver's side door, like on the other side, on the inside of the frame rail, there's an ABS module, and there's a little computer on it, and the cord wraps around, and it's bending the wrong way. Now, it came from the factory with a zip tie on it. Now, I cut the zip tie and messed around with it and effed it up and back pinned all the different things, and I'm driving around, and the brake light's coming on and off, and I go over bumps and stuff. I re-zip tied it, and no more brake light. I've replaced the sensors that it says are broken. It still says there's no problem, Now I undid the cable and I was shaking it, and the light kept coming on and off and coming on and off, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. So
You need to replace that pin connection.
yeah, but I think from Chevy you can only buy the whole thing, and it's not something I can find easily at a junkyard. So the question is do I get butt connectors, replace it as close as I can to the connector? Do I resolder it and go that route? And I mean, I just don't want to deal with the truck anymore, but at the same time, it would be nice to fix it because I could get more money for it.
I would just try to resolder it with the new connectors.
Yeah, the connector is, I have the tools to take each pin out, and I could resolder in a piece of wire, and then I can make the connector run the other way, and I can permanently seal the connector so it won't happen again.
Well,
But
yeah,
the
you
question
can.
is, do I want to
You
spend?
can do the heat shrink.
Yeah, the heat shrink works too, but I got a better way of doing it. I've had on other cars, I've had technical service bulletins where they had bad connectors, and it's never coming off again. I mean, like the inside of the connector part. So you clean it, you clear it out, you do what you need to do, and then you seal it with epoxy. Like not the connector to the unit, but just like the back of the connector itself.
Right.
So I don't know.
It's like the housing would be the anti-seize, and the hot glue would be like your complete seal. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know if I should start fucking with this truck again because it's gonna like magically blow up into a huge thing where everything gets fucked up, and I don't know. I have the expertise, but I'm just kind of gun shy right now.
I mean, if you're looking to get rid of it, I would say just go for it. Do what you have to fix it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna hold on to it for a little longer, then maybe it's worth it just getting a new unit for that. But I don't know how much.
Yeah, I was gonna say how much does the new unit cost for it?
I haven't figured out. It's not the unit; it's just the cord. So the cord. I actually bought a new unit. That's a new unit, but the cable you'd have to replace the entire body harness there. And I don't have.
When did you buy it?
I bought it a little while ago. It's old.
When did you buy it?
I don't know,
So you don't have a warranty on it.
2 months? No.
Well,
No,
if it's 2 months old, you should still have a warranty on it.
No, I mean it was fine before I took that zip tie off. I've never encountered that bad before. Well,
the question is it normal to have that zip tie there or not?
That zip tie was definitely there from the factory. So,
did that piece go in there to the factory and they said, "Oh fuck it, I'm not doing any work. I'm just going to put a zip tie on it."
Okay, so here's me fucking around. Okay, I'm super bubba here. So it had a bad hub and a bad ABS ring, and I diagnosed it the day the truck stopped running. But I think I hot swapped the ABS ECU, and I bent some wires in the door. I bent some wires when I was doing the mirror in the door, and that just
I gotcha.
fucked everything up that I did. I've never done that before, but it's always the first. And the truck didn't run for like a month. So that was this whole truck ordeal. I mean, I don't know.
You can't even really tell the difference between what it was like from the factory versus the amount of whatever you did.
Well,
you did too much to really know.
Well, I was a dumbass, and yeah, I did too much at once. I should have did one thing at a time, and then I could have easily went back and undid what I fucked up. But no, it's got to be this, to me, it's always got to be this complicated problem that's got to be hashed out, and it's such a bullshit thing.
The ABS line, where you're referring to it's at the brake, or it's at its control panel inside the car.
It's on the diesel 2500. It's underneath the driver's side, so it's
runs under the driver's side. So you're talking about in the wiring, or actually on the brake system?
It's the wiring itself.
Oh boy!
And I verified it by shaking the cord, and it was like ding, 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 and I shook it again and it stopped. Shaking it a lot, ding, 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 and then I shook it again and it stopped. And I zip tied it back the way it was originally, and it stopped, but I still don't have communication from one of the sensors. So I could probably
I
just
hope you didn't
repair
short one of the sensors.
I think those wires were fucked because of that bend. It was like 180. It was like how many degrees? Whatever. It was a crazy bend. I looked at it and was like, who did this? Why would you put a bend like this in a wiring harness? So I think I just had to touch it. I think it was screwed up. I think I touched it and made it worse. And now I've fixed the original problem.
Yeah, all it needed
was the wrong touch.
All it needed was a new hub and an ABS ring, and I had to finger fuck the whole thing and create this firestorm. But so here's the thing: I could probably just replace that one wire.
But by the way, Rupon, I sent you an email.
Oh, awesome!
So why couldn't you replace just the wire?
I could. I have the wiring diagram all set. Oh, awesome! Thanks, Night Strike. I have the it's 2 wires, so there's 2 wires that run to each. I think it's 2 wires to each ABS sensor, so I could probably just figure those out. But I mean, it wouldn't if I'm digging in there and messing around. I don't know. I've done it before.
I mean, if you're willing to do it, I would just download the diagram for that.
Oh, I got it. I got it printed out, but I didn't know. I didn't know if I wanted, get. I got a little trigger shy, I guess. After that,
it didn't sound like you got a little trigger shy when you finger fucked it originally.
Well, with that kind of touching, you'll never be on the Supreme Court.
You're right about that. You're a little too friendly.
I'm like a super Bubba, so I'm like the northeastern version of Bubba.
The rapey kind. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to be kind of not too great, and then I was. It sounds kind of weird, but I was sexually assaulted by 2 girls.
Lucky bastard.
And ever since then, I've been a lot shyer around that stuff. So, like in person, I can talk all sorts of crazy, smack. But I don't know. I was thinking about that. The whole Ford thing had me thinking about that shit. And
when's the next time you're going to get assaulted by 2 women?
Well, it was separately, but
sorry to hear that.
They were both Puerto Rican. I think one of
them. Hell yeah!
Yeah, I think they're both from PR. So, but
them Hispanics, women's man, they can be nuts.
Oh, they are wild. Woo.
What's funny is it ends up in my mind. I don't know, it kind of fucked me up a little bit, but in my mind, it's like a dream sequence from a video game. I just didn't. I was in such disbelief that it was happening.
Not suitable for younger audiences.
Yeah. So.
You see, most men don't care about that kind of thing. Women are the only ones that have to.
Do care about that.
Well, only if they're not hot. Okay.
Oh, so you really do care? Okay.
Well, I it's funny. As I was thinking about it, I used to be a lot more aggressive with girls when I was younger, and after that, I stopped. I got really passive with all that stuff. So I don't know. I guess it did fuck me up a little bit. I
get super aggressive with myself all the time.
Yeah, that's supposed to be messed up in the first place.
Wow.
Sometimes you just get in the mood, but whatever. Anyway,
we don't hold little punches.
Next topic.
Was that obnoxious one who said that he rapes himself all the time, or was that it was Yankee? Oops.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be like Yankee. Trust me.
He rapes himself under the gun. He points one hand has the gun holding it at his head, and the other hand as well.
You don't want to talk about it.
No.
Oh, I was joking around. I popped in his chat for a second right before Unloaded Media went live, and he was talking about the vet gun, and I couldn't remember if G-Webs was a vet or not, but I said, hey, everybody, let's nominate G-Webs to get a 9mm.
Oh, he would love that one.
Is Yankee giving away a 9mm?
I mean, he usually gives away Walther CCPs or whatever in 9.
Yeah, but okay. I'll nominate G. Anybody else?
G might sell it or something or give it away because, he's not a big fan of 9.
You could always put it up for the Patreon and maybe get a few more bucks for it.
I know people who take a free gun. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure G would take the free gun and sell it.
Why not? Yankee has really where you nominate somebody to win?
Who knows?
Yankee always has things where you nominate somebody for something.
Well, let's nominate G for a 9mm.
I'm waiting for him to come back in and say something to you about that.
Who?
Gee, he's in here. He's just not. He's just away from his
Hey, G, wake up. Marshmallow, get G. Marshmallow's like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to sleep. Marshmallow, I got something for you, baby.
Z, attack.
No, not that. Not that, Marshmallow. I need that.
And we probably could do a bracket. Who knows how long midnight's going to be?
What did you just say? We're going to do a bracket of when midnight's going to get on?
No, I said we probably could do a bracket because who knows how long he's going to be.
What bracket would you do?
I got 2 of them ready.
We could do our favorite brackets.
No, I don't have
top 5 brackets.
What's G Webb's favorite 9mm pistol?
Can we do a roll call on the going Bubba on the truck?
Nah, I got 216 selections.
Who's gone Bubba all over their truck?
No, I'm asking for let's get everybody who says yay or nay for the going chainsaw on the truck there with the wiring.
I say go chainsaw.
We got one yes.
Go
Rich?
chainsaw.
Oh, 2 yes.
Do it.
Your truck, man. Do what you want.
All right, yeah, I'll probably do it then.
Do it.
Okay, next list. What's the next topic?
Not much of a time killer because we're pretty much enablers.
Yeah.
This is true.
Well, I mean, I know how to fix it, and I got it right there. And I'm not trying to sell someone like a piece of shit truck. I mean, I know a lot of people who do that with guns. Yeah, I know a dude who does that with guns all the time. Man, he got a gun that was like one of the suicide guns from the only public range in Mass back in 96 or 98. Some dude blew his brains out, so They finally got the gun back, and they just put it in rotation with the guns you can rent.
Nice.
So
sounds like a good thing to do.
He got it down to $195 cash, and he bought it. I forget what type of pistol it was. It was some older, double single, and maybe a Ruger or something. And he, it had weird pitting on it. So we went to my other gun shop, and a gun shop I really like to go to, and the guy was like, "Dude, this is blood pitting all over the slide."
I would totally have paid $195 for that. That's awesome.
So then
we take for any gun.
Yeah, that's true.
He takes it back and he's looking at it. I think it might have been a Ruger 95, maybe. And he's looking at it and he's like, So he takes some paint thinner and he rubs all the paint off the slide. And he takes some sandpaper and he sands it down, oils the slide up. It's now unfinished. And he sells it to some guy for $350 and says it's a 2-tone and says the slide is stainless.
Oh my God.
I looked at it, I was like, you're a fucking terrible person, man.
He's going to get somebody's house on it, too.
He took advantage of a special ed person.
He always does that, too. That's the craziest shit.
Does he sell people blinker fluid?
I told him, dude, you should get in business, man. Pick up some evidence guns or, dude. And he's like, nope, I like doing this. I like buying crap and then turning it for double what I paid.
Well, you do the same thing with evidence guns because you You ever seen evidence guns? A lot of them are crap.
Yeah, he's real weird like that.
For grips and shit.
You can only legally sell 4 a year in this state. So that's what he kind of sticks to. He does. Sometimes he'll do like 5 or 6.
Does he find any guns that have actual gut splatter or just blood?
That was just blood pitting.
Oh man, nothing good. Okay, never mind.
I don't know. I just, you know.
I want to find a gun for sale with actual guts still on it.
That should be exciting.
I know, right?
All right. I'm going to go do something. I'll see you guys later.
Okay, make sure you lube it.
Something now.
I'm going to probably go play some video games and go sleep.
Don't forget to use. Don't forget to plenty lube.
Not that kind of game, John.
Hey, listen, I'm not judging. You have a good night, whatever you need to do.
Joystick's a joystick, man.
Nice
Moist.
Yeah, nice breaks and go play some Leisure Suit Larry.
I remember that.
I don't
Shall
know.
not be infringed.
I don't know if someone should actually admit to having that game or not.
Shall not be infringed.
Hey, Leisure Suit Larry was
I
freaking
may not
hilarious.
have played that in my time.
Hey Gary, why'd you come up with the term "give him the bird" instead of "flip him the bird"?
I don't.
Wait, he is a chicken. He should have said "flap them the bird."
Yeah, that makes sense too.
Which one of the Leisure Suit Larry games was it where you're hitting on the woman and she turns out to be a tranny and she like takes advantage of you on the beach?
Jared?
That was his reaction when that happens is freaking
No, I'm
crazy.
saying Jared would know.
Negative. I don't even know what Leisure Larry is. In my mind.
Oh my God! You don't know what Leisure Suit Larry is?
No, in my mind, I was imagining Night Strike playing Sam and Max Hit the Road. I'm not sure why.
Sam and Max, freelance police. Sam and Max.
Jared,
Oh,
do
yeah.
yourself a favor and Google Leisure Suit Larry.
The last video game I played was Mario Brothers, and that was like, I don't know, 11 years ago? Maybe longer? And really haven't played anything even before that. Probably Pac-Man or Asteroids or some shit.
And Sam, Rupan, I have all the Sam and Max games. I have them all, damn it.
Jared's new name is Sam.
Yes, Sam.
I might have to take you up on that. I haven't seen those games in forever.
You can get them all on Steam, I think.
Yeah.
Serious question here, okay? Leisure Suit Larry, do you think that would be the modern feminazi's favorite video game?
No, I think feminazi's favorite video game are what do you call it? Vampire dildos.
It was a trick question, John.
The only game they play is Where Are Your Papers?
Papers, please.
Papers, please.
Yep.
Where are the papers?
That's an actual video game.
If the feminazis knew about Leisure Suit Larry, would it cause the video game version of #MeToo?
I don't think so because it's been around for years.
Their next move in this is going to be # oh no you didn't.
Would the Leisure Suit Larry video games keep Leisure Suit Larry from being able to be on the Supreme Court?
Possibly.
All he has to say is his last name is Clinton, and they'll put him up to run against somebody.
His last name is actually stated in the game. It wasn't Clinton. I just don't remember what it was.
Man,
But I remember
Larry Laffer.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you can buy a full conceal frame from Rainier Arms.
How would you know where it is if it's concealed?
Renier.
Rainier. Maybe there's another.
What does it
eye
look
there.
like? If it's
Maybe
concealed,
you're
can you
right.
see what it looks like?
Full conceal, baby. Disappears.
You just got to take their word for it that it's in a package.
Right. So I've been looking around. People keep talking about a weight limit in this state. I printed out every gun law this state had and went through them all. Now, I did not print out the Attorney General's regulations where that's where they kind of the weight limit for pistols comes in, but everybody talks like there's a weight limit for pistols in this state. And even
Before you said pistols, I swear to God,
my
I thought
bad.
the Attorney General was making a rule for people can't be over a certain weight.
Well,
I thought the guns had to be under a certain weight.
as soon as they enact, 100% free healthcare, then it's your civic duty as a subject to make sure you don't smoke, don't.
Did you see what that one nuttown did in Montana?
No.
They made like a huge gun ban. You didn't see the posting?
Yeah, the one town with like banning guns and shit.
Yeah, in Montana of all places too.
That's going to go over real well because I believe they have a preemption law which prevents that from happening anyway.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Plus, that Montana is also one of the states that doesn't recognize the NFA.
I'm telling you, man, that whole public safety.
Bullshit.
You got. Oh, dude, it's, and you see like that, and that just ties into so much stuff. It's everywhere. This, let's ban everything. I saw a YouTube video. I was looking at like those little pinfire revolvers and the single shot pinfire guns. I was thinking about buying one. And there's a video. The knives so dangerous. We're glad that they're illegal or some shit like that. So I click on it, and it's like these brass knuckles are so dangerous, man. Like, look at this knife. We're definitely happy this is illegal.
Well, hold on a second. They were calling brass knuckles a knife?
Well, no,
I have
it
a
was
pair
like
of brass
weapons.
knuckles.
It was
You're
like
allowed
weapons.
to own brass knuckles in South Carolina. You just can't. You can't use them to commit a crime. That's all it says in the law.
You're not supposed to use any weapon to commit a crime.
That's my point.
Illegal.
Well,
that's my point. But does that mean I can use brass knuckles for self-defense, or would that be using them for a crime?
Well, no, this guy's in like Vancouver or something.
He's in Vancouver. Well, then he's screwed anyways because they don't have any.
That's a really good point you raise, Night Strike, because unfortunately we live in a time in some cities and some states that they just want the populace to be good victims. They don't really give a shit. And the people who continuously vote to put those kind of people in positions of power are willing to give up all their rights, all their protections.
It's not that the politicians want their constituents to be victims. They just want to be able to use them as statistics because they could give two shits about them being victims or not.
Yeah.
They want them for the statistics.
The point is, it comes
to
down
their
to
career.
Well,
That's what it comes down to.
Exactly. The point comes down to the government doesn't care about the people, but there's some people that are just willing to give it all up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even. It's you are. I mean, come on. Okay, so they ban an automatic knife, right? Okay. Well, does that mean you're going to be any safer when some guy cuts you, stabs you, 18 times in the throat? You're not any. I mean, you're not really any safer. But like, what they're doing is you're exchanging all these rights. So that way they can protect you. They sell you on this whole thing where a lot of people actually believe that they can do it. And like a weird example of it is in Massachusetts, you have to have police on details. There has to be a cop on construction details. Where there's lots of states. I've lived in a couple states where they didn't use cops
on construction details.
Yes, there's a police officer, and they say, "Listen." At one time back in like the late 80s or something, or the early 90s, some lady was getting raped or something, or there was a robbery and a cop ran over and killed the guy. So therefore, you're so much safer with these cops on construction details. And it's like, you guys are fucking nuts. Like, shouldn't they be patrolling a beat anyways? Like, it's like, otherwise there's no cops around, so no one will catch any crime. I drove through Slummerville the other day. Slummerville. Scott loves to call it Slummerville. And I saw over 20 cops on details. Wow. Construction details. And I was like...
You got a Somerville up there?
Oh, yeah, man. Scott.
There's a Somerville everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother lives in Somerville right now, but I said that to him. Like, they probably pay like $60, $70 an hour. These cops get to do a construction detail. And it's like,
And they're just sitting watching guys working
or talking with them or playing around on their cell
or
phone.
talking, and getting somebody coffee or whatever.
My thing though is it all ties into like the whole public safety sale
Bullshit.
where now because they're standing there, like they should be doing a beat anyways. There should be cops in the community. Like the whole point, like what are they hiding? Like behind HESCO barriers or some shit. I mean, I don't know. It's just like the way they put it is like, listen, you trade in you give up some of your rights. You don't care about those. You don't carry automatic knives or stilettos or something. Who cares? So give up those rights, and we'll help. It'll help make our job easier to make you safer. And it's complete lack of any responsibility. The way I see it, there is no responsibility. It takes that responsibility out of your hands, but they're not responsible for you. And we've, civilly, we've seen that. I don't know. So it's a whole thing.
Yeah. No, it's not even in the
on.
Constitution for that. That's not a police officer's job.
Yeah. And that's my problem with it is they act like, oh, they got your back now, or statistically speaking, it's not really needed anyways. But then when, it's like, we should be able to be responsible for ourselves. It's not, forget about, you can drop all sorts of stuff. I mean, being responsible is so important, but I mean, I don't know. I guess you could segue into property rights too, without even like touching on the Second Amendment, like just property rights and personal responsibility for, whatever, you got it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Totally agree with you.
Thanks.
It's messed up. Some people are willing to give up all their freedom for a fake sense of security.
Yeah. Cops, you're not gonna get. I mean, some of the cops, they're good. Some of the cops, I see. There's one Beverly cop. He's got like Second Amendment tattoos all over his arms and his neck, like 3%er, 1776. Like that dude's got your back. But I know other guys in like Swampscott that would happily arrest their own parents. Like.
No, it's not even that. There's just not enough police in this world to be everywhere at the same time. It's impossible.
Yeah.
No matter how much the government says, "Oh no, anything is possible because we're here for you."
Yeah, I mean, we see so much. So when I'm arguing with like a lot of normies or whatever, I try to I've been on the other side of this argument with somebody before, very poorly, but I've been on the other side where I agreed that you shouldn't have any weapons because the government will keep you safe. So I've been there before. So I get what they're arguing, but it's just, let's not have. To me, what they're actually saying is I don't need to think about this in my life. I'm lazy. I don't need to have this responsibility. And it might not be that for everybody. Some people just don't care or they choose not to, but I don't know. That's a rant. That's a roll call, rant, and rave.
No, it's an everyday thing people need to be aware of.
Yeah.
You should probably save that for Wednesday.
Yeah. Then I go nuts. I see people, the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, the Department of the Interior is reversing something Obama did right at the end when he was about to get out. So now their land will no longer be in a trust. So now they'll have to deal with the local jurisdictions for permitting and whatever else. So now they're flipping out. And a lot of Democrats are making the most libertarian arguments I've ever seen before. Like, just under saying taxation is theft. Like, these people own this land. They are sovereign. How can they go? They shouldn't have to go anywhere to get a permit. They own this land. We can't tell them what to do. People making huge property rights arguments. People just that I'm just like, I shared it and was like, let's go further. Like, and nobody commented.
They're not going to.
Democrats are retarded.
And remember, the Democrats only do the whole thing. They're only there to do outrage and to get their own way. But when it comes to actually,
their agenda,
when it suits their agenda,
and then they wonder. Then they look surprised when you throw it back in their face.
Yeah. Speaking of that, did you guys see what Dick Durbin said earlier today?
Dick Durbin can go suck out.
He said that Republicans are only name callers and that their campaigns have absolutely no substance. I think he's describing the wrong party.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got the wrong party when he said that.
Well, Dick Durbin isn't a Republican. He's
a dick.
Well, no. He actually, he actually gives all dicks a bad name. So
He probably does other things with them too, but I'm not going to go there.
we're not going to go there because then there might be a whole a whole scandal with him next. Who knows?
Oh, scandals with somebody? What about Sherrod, what's his name, last name? Brown, the senator from Ohio?
What did he do?
Well, he's a Democrat, and apparently his opponent has had, according to his opponent, multiple women have come forward and asked him what to do because he sexually assaulted them or in some way assaulted them at some point. And this guy has a history of this because his ex-wife divorced him because he was beating her.
Well, hold on a second. Women that he did stuff to are coming up to him and asking them what they should do about it?
His opponent. They're asking his opponent, and his opponent said that he referred them all to attorneys.
Okay, so he did the right thing, unlike someone else we know on the Democratic Party that did totally the opposite of all that.
His Republican opponent's the one that did the right thing by telling them to go to attorneys.
Exactly. Like I said, unlike the opposite on the Democratic Party, that they did the whole opposite of what they should have done.
Yeah. So I'm right now demanding. I demanded there must be an FBI investigation.
I need to.
I wish people would start demanding Democrats stop sexually abusing everybody they come in contact with.
I mean, look at Keith Ellison. 2 women that is verifiable with police reports and medical reports, everything that he beat.
And the Democrats just brushed that under the carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's currently running, who let a bunch of them off easy.
Yeah, the woman running in Virginia who has let sexual abusers. A guy molested a kid, and as the prosecutor, she did a plea bargain with this guy where he was out in 2 months.
Sounds like something Hillary did many, many years ago also.
Kidnapped his victim multiple times and abused her multiple times over.
It's like, easy. Oh my God. That's what I'm talking about, Brittany. He only got 2 months.
Well, of course, because the woman was so evil.
No, it was a kid.
Well, the kid was evil.
The kid was molested by an illegal, was caught, dead to rights. No doubt about that the son of a bitch did it. The female prosecutor of the case plea bargained it and got him on where he only will serve 2 months in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
are you shocked? This is what Democrats do. This is their party.
Disgusting.
Look at the illegal alien that murdered that girl on the beach.
Oh, yeah, and got away scot-free.
And they let him go. Well, Democrats just love protecting murderers and rapists.
There was a guy
who was acquitted. That guy was acquitted.
I know.
There was a guy recently who had just under like 60 grams of heroin, and because he's a legal immigrant though, and because he's a legal immigrant, the judge lessened the punishment. That way, he would not get deported.
Grim, do you want to?
And the judge said, he has a family to protect. This is the same judge who let that guy out. Who had the gun? Who had who killed the cop? So
one of you guys got Grim's email? Send him a link. He's out there commenting. Might as well come in here and talk to everybody else instead of just sitting out there commenting.
Well, Grim might have class tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, I'm gonna check.
He's been out there for a while commenting, so I don't know.
No, I'm certain Grim has class tomorrow.
Well, then he should be in bed, not commenting on the chat.
He's probably finishing up paperwork before he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't have his email.
I don't think I do either.
You could tell him to go on to gunchannels.com, register, and then he can get the link.
That's too much work. You tell him.
I'm pretty sure he's registered on Gun Channels.
It's still too much work. You tell him.
Yes, I'm not even on my computer. Hey, Grim, get on Gun Channels. Get the link. Let's go.
If it's still posted. Oh.
Well, if he can see it, because I couldn't.
Well, the link isn't posted on the main.
No, I can't see anything up from your chat on there unless someone else
Knife
posted.
saw it. Knife saw it because he liked the post.
I don't know.
I don't know what's with you people.
Some people just come up private for some reason. I don't know why.
Likely story.
You people.
Yeah, you people.
What the hell?
Who are you? What do you mean by you people? What do you mean by
I have the best Halloween costume. I have the Trump. We're on Trump's shoulders.
To make it look like you're sitting on him?
Yes, and then I have the Step Brothers T-shirt of Kanye and Trump.
Very cute.
Someone photoshopped, the movie cover for Step Brothers, where John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are like wearing those sweater vests and smiling. Somebody edited Kanye and Trump's face over that, and then I have a red hat with a Velcro patch on it that says "From my cold dead hands," and it has a red stapler on it.
All right,
Cool.
I'm seriously out this time, though.
All right, go play your video games. That's more important.
Bye.
Play your video game.
I'm gonna go play my video games.
Shall not be infringed.
Shall not be infringed.
Shall not be infringed.
The robots are secretly learning what he does and how he does it. And I know
How he
move.
likes it and how he likes to get it.
Yeah, one of these days, he's gonna get Skyneted by one of them self-driving cars. He's gonna get murdered to death by the car.
He's gonna get jacked off to death.
He's going to commit suicide. Or the car's going to just help him commit suicide.
Yeah. John missed, I think, when we were talking about the self-driving cars earlier. And how many people have been murdered to death by them.
No, I heard you guys talking about that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Elon Musk had changed the programming in his car now, so you have to have a hand on the steering wheel.
Again, they can't get AI to do the right thing in a freaking video game. What makes them think it'll work in a car?
Well,
Elon Musk's steering wheel is activated with fingerprints, and his steering wheel looks like a woman's ass.
Well, aside from that, he said that he was pissed. Apparently, he was really mad when he found out that people were sleeping in self-driving cars. He's like, that's not. It's like, you're supposed to be awake when you're driving a car. Like,
was he triggered?
Well, yeah, he got really angry because you're supposed to pay attention. Like, it's not designed like. If it was designed that way, then it would be like, Demolition Man, where the steering wheel goes away or some shit. That's.
I want it to be like that game. Remember that game from the 70s? The people have their fancy cars and they go running people over on purpose for points. Death Race.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Whoa, Johnny Cab. Welcome to Johnny Cab.
Thank you for riding Johnny Cab.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
But I guess he got like that was never like an intended thing. Like he didn't think people would be that stupid.
Boy, was he wrong.
Well, in his mind, it was probably just a way to enhance driving, where you don't have to pay attention as much. You just kind of sit there and coast along with it, and then he sees the YouTube video where people are sleeping. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Well, I think the fact that 3 people, I believe, were killed by the damn things might have been. Oh, wait a minute.
That's only 3 people. It's not a big deal.
I'm supposed to be awake.
That's unnatural and takes care of Democrats.
people expecting their cars to just drive themselves.
Yeah, that's hilarious though to hear that from him. I watched the whole Joe Rogan podcast with him. I don't know if you heard of the Joe Rogan Experience. He does podcasts.
Yeah, I know who Joe Rogan is.
Oh man, those podcasts are awesome. He really like dug into stuff. Apparently, Musk is working on getting rid of using your thumbs because he said having to use your thumbs in analog, in an analog style, use a keyboard takes too long. So he wants to have it. You just think it apparently.
So he wants you to cut off your thumbs?
Yeah, what?
Or he wants it to be.
The only thing you use your thumb for on a keyboard is the space bar.
No,
Pretty
he
much.
wants you to become cyborg. So
I don't want to be Cyborg. I want to be Green Lantern.
I want to be the Bionic Man.
Well, then the robots can't kill you if you are a robot.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Not if you become.
I don't want to be the
Borg.
$40 man. I
Black
want to be
hole
the $1 million
robots most
man.
certainly can kill robots.
I guess. Unless if you download your brain into the system or some crap. But, I mean, I thought it was pretty crazy though to hear that.
I already keep my brain safe in my
I've
ass.
come to the conclusion that Elon Musk isn't completely sane a long time ago. When he wanted to drill a giant hole in the ground, it went nowhere.
And he's loving. He talked all about that hole. That's the new thing is you're safer underground from earthquakes or whatever. And he said
You're safe in the ground from the ground. Makes perfect sense.
Yep. I mean, he was on there, and I don't know. You should watch if you're interested in anything. I didn't know that a lot of his shit was very subsidized by the government. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, there's an earthquake! Quick, hide in the hole in the ground.
Wait, so what's he gonna do when he digs too many holes and the monsters come out and they make tremors?
What his plan is he's going to dig holes in the ground, and then he's going to take the air. He's going to create a vacuum and give you a little spaceship, and then you'll be able to. Well, there'll be no air resistance or whatever, so you'll just be able to fly somewhere.
I don't think there's any air resistance in his head.
No, that's all that's in his head.
True.
But I mean, the government gave him $3 million to do his shit. They even got bailed out. Tesla got bailed out during the crisis. They got fucked though. He talks about how the original Tesla, he was told that they used the Lotus vehicles, the frame from the Lotus. I don't know if you know what that is. The Fur Elise or whatever, the Lotus Elise.
Yeah, it's the British
Fur, yeah. So they were supposed to use that chassis. And then they were supposed to use an electric motor and a battery system from some company. I forget what he said it was. And when they finally got the car, and they finally did the prototype, it was all wrong. He said they lied. The company that told them the specs for the electric motor was a lie. And he said the car was extremely overweight.
Yeah, so electric cars are a scam anyway, because I don't know if you saw this. There was I forget where it was. There was some institute that did a study on them, and the electric cars in the long run are worse for the environment than diesel cars are.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Well, it depends where you're getting the electricity from.
No, it's because of the batteries.
Well, yeah, the battery. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like if the batteries come from China, then there's no emissions at all.
Yeah, at least because of what are you going to do with them when they're dead? The lithium-ion batteries are corrosive. Yeah, those batteries are going to cause a major environmental hazard, more so than what diesel will.
You just set them up in a space shuttle into space.
Oh, so what we're going to do? Like come in Superman 4 and throw them into the sun?
Yeah, why not?
Superman throwing all the nukes into the sun. Instead, we can have Superman throw all the lithium-ion batteries into the sun.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's where all the tree huggers come into play.
What, we're going to throw them into the sun too?
Oh God, don't I wish?
They can go up and they can make sure they all make it by holding on.
Let them fly the shit up into the sun, right?
How many people had wanted to go to Mars and not come back?
Hey, don't.
Wasn't that every
Shitload of people.
Democrat when
California does want to build a rocket.
didn't every Democrat want to go to Mars or some other planet when Trump won?
They all wanted to go to Canada and something, and then backed out
Yeah, we
because
should
Canada
send
said
them.
they weren't welcome.
Tell them we're sending them to Canada and just pack them all up and send them to the sun with the batteries.
Yeah. Speaking of that, did you see where China wants to create a second moon?
A second what?
Moon.
Moon?
Moon. Yes, moon.
How the hell are they going to create a moon?
They want to create a satellite moon that'll orbit about 300 miles above the Earth.
Like a Death Star?
Yeah, exactly. That's not a moon. That's a space station.
Yeah.
They've built like quite a few floating fucking naval bases, haven't they?
Yeah, they want to make this thing to where it'll reflect light from the sun at night onto cities in China so that they can cut back on the power used by streetlights.
How are they going to sleep?
Hey, that's not your fucking decision in China. You sleep when they fucking tell you to sleep, motherfucker.
That's true. It is China.
Yeah.
What is weird though is the Chinese exchange students from the mainland at my school. They're all super rich. They all drive like Mercedes-Benz blacks and crazy models, special model Audis. I've never seen any of this shit before. BMW weird special models.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird because my whole life usually I hear people speaking like people from Hong Kong. So it's real weird to hear like people from the mainland speaking Mandarin. They're a lot quieter than the people from who speak Cantonese. You know, the Mandarins where everybody's like shoo 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 shoo, and Cantonese is the crazy yelling.
If you say so, I don't know.
Come on, John, you live in New York City. You know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
What do we got, Rich?
I don't know. Grim's still out there. Grim, shouldn't you be going to bed?
You guys
You
still
got school in the morning, young man.
Oh, I sent a link to Sarge to see if he wanted to jump in because midnight wasn't up.
I sent Sarge one how long ago?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thought I was helping.
Yep.
I hope people didn't send me an email. I got like 680 emails. I haven't gone through yet.
That's it.
Yeah, that happened.
I fucking hate emails.
And I sent Ellis an email too, but Ellis apparently doesn't check his emails according to him last week. So
Ellis is sleeping like a baby right now.
oh, this is like 8 o'clock. No,
He's dreaming about Chris Vectors.
Hey. You think he gets to fondle one at work every day?
I'm pretty sure he does fondle one at work every day.
Do they have Vectors over at PSA?
Well, I imagine.
Don't see why they wouldn't. One of the largest gun stores in the country.
Oh, I didn't know it was a gun store also.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like Cabela's would be here.
One thing that's weird that's been popping up lately is gun shops that don't have a storefront, where they still have a storefront because in Mass you have to have a store, but they don't have any products there. You gotta
It's
order.
probably just so they can keep the business name.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have to cuff any stock, you know. There's no money. His money isn't tied up in anything, you know. You want something, you order it.
Yeah. People can't break in and steal what he doesn't got, right?
Yeah, I mean, he had like a Glock 17 there from a Gen 2. He was asking like $700 for it.
Well, guys, Midnight just sent his link out, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop over there.
Okay,
Awesome.
So he's coming up.
See you
All
later.
right, folks. Whoever's out there, head on over to Midnight's. We're going to close this down, and we will see you next week.
Midnight, you're not
See
being
ya.
fringed. Give him
They're
the
not being
finger.
fringed. No fringes. Fringes are bad.
Give him the bird.
Finger good, finger bang.
Show him the bird.
Bird bang.
Do it blindfolded.
Squawk, squawk.
Bye-bye.